know how well the community's been doing so far because I haven't kept track of every single community vote, but I will say this much. If you watched any of the matches today and you think that you know what you're talking about, especially now that BDS announced that they won't be playing with Rafael.
Oh boy.
I don't know if anybody's predictions are still standing. Anyway, let's get into the matchup. DarkZero versus Elevate on Kafe. Elevate will be starting first. Their first ban is going to be okay on Thatcher and an Amaru ban.
Are we safe to say that DarkZero's been reading into the possibilities of Elevate, and with the aggression, the Amaru makes pretty good sense. Elevate themselves, of course, took out the Thatcher. That's very standard. And then DarkZero follows up with a Wamai ban of their own. This is gonna make the utility clearing for DarkZero's side a little bit easier, and perhaps just make it a little bit, you know, less difficult to clear certain positions.
All right, some standard bans now from Elevate, but DarkZero obviously with Wamai. Wamai isn't as banned as often as he used to be. I don't know why, but Wamai's ban rate has fallen quite a lot. We tend to see more Miras, more Valkyries in particular, dominating those ban phases. Amaru or Amaru, depending on how you pronounce her, that is a bit of an interesting ban in the sense that we do not see that often at all. In fact, I cannot remember the last time I casted a match where Amaru was banned. So let's get into the action. Very first defense from Elevate is going to be on that main floor of Double Kitchen. They're going to be bringing a, well, looked like a castle, but they're going to go with the Thunderbird. They had the Thunderbird locked in. They decided to go with the castle, and now they're going to flex off of it. A castle is seen most commonly on that middle floor, Nick, especially if you're defending reading. So the castle could be done to throw you off, but teams also bring castle strats for the bottom floor. So that's something to keep an eye on. DarkZero obviously don't know what bomb site they're going to go to, but might find out very quickly. And with it being on the first floor, all it takes is a drone scooting through that main door and bakery to assess where that bomb site is going to be.
So something to know, Canadian actually 6-picked from, I believe it was a Buck, I'm not entirely sure if I remember correctly, but onto the Kali. So I'm not sure if this means that DC is expecting a top 4 defense and thus they picked up the Kali to help clear out the utility and the jammers and whatnot. However, it could also just signify a direct bakery push, so that with the Kali, you can make sure always to clear the jammers or the bandit charges if they're on the wall, and therefore breach with that. Either way, the Kali is extremely low pick rate throughout all regions of pro play, which you would think is that's a bit odd because Kali is like a mini Thatcher, and Thatcher is always banned, so why wouldn't you always play Kali? But I do think that the weapon just kind of holds her back for most players. Having a bolt action sniper rifle and a high recoil, also high fire rate secondary SMG, it's just not for everyone to like. Canadian, however, showing the flexibility of his character, being able to play most operators, I would say, these days.
Yeah, and he's on the flex roll for DarkZero. We got to see a good opportunity of DarkZero's new roles and a good look at them in those NA League finals, Nick, against the Sonics. When DarkZero ultimately stumbled, and I spoke to Canadian yesterday actually to do an interview, and he said that they weren't actually anticipating that they'd win. They were just coming in with their role swaps to see how far they could go. They figured that a top 2 finish was definitely in the cards, but I think that was where their expectations ended, and it's really just a learning opportunity, he said. They want to try to find their footing and keep working through these new roles because the team did make some serious changes when Canadian stepped onto the team.
Yeah, I believe Dev said they've gone through 9 total changes with both coaching staff and players the last year or so. That is a ton of changes, of course, and with that, you're gonna have to kind of start over from scratch and kind of pick up the pace, and it sucks, but it's gotta be done sometimes.
Well, they're gonna ace the wall now, and you cannot mute trick this, so you have to make sure that the Selma charge gets shot away, and then you immediately cover that wall back up again. That's Nirix's job to do that. And it sounds like they're just going to keep losing mute jammers as those lances from Kali are being used on the wall. Could see another Selma get tossed out by Eclipse, but DZ only have 1 left, and they want to be very careful about how they use that.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough beginning, right? Because there's no roamers from inside of Elevate, first of all. They're all 5 in the basement, so all the... Oh, DC just walking in, C4 comes out.
Oh, and it clears out Canadian, refragged by DZ, but there goes Hyper. Down and out, my goodness. By the way, that's the shotgun being brought from Onigiri. It's not the actual spear, so, all right, you want to play close combat with the Thunderbird, that's fine. They're still droning out, though, now, as both teams sit at 3 apiece. Just a minute to go, or thereabouts, with DarkZero on that second floor. A grenade primed and ready to drop down into coat check, and the Maestro will need to scoot on over, but there's an ADS very smartly positioned. So instead, it's Pambazoo to take the fight. A little bit of damage done to Napiu, but he's still standing upright. Watching from that position with the ult in hand, no AA-12, so he's just going to motor right through them. And Pambazu will wait and hold the cross, see if somebody wants to back on up. Waiting for a call from his team, he can hear the 416 over by Whiskey, but he's not going to jump on into the action. Eclipse walking in through prep, down goes Napew, and Sapper's last one up, but a huge two-piece from Sapper, leaving him versus NJR. The prodigal son will need to return, as NJR is still in the same spot. He has no real information, getting into the bomb site with the diffuser miles away, and it's just going to be a game of keep away from Sapper. Well done, with an evil eye watching him, and Elevate starts off the series with a round victory.
We can actually hear Elevate scream on top of their lungs off that first round victory. I don't think DarkZero necessarily understood or knew that Napew was actually injured, and that was indeed a 1 versus 1. But if we kind of go earlier up or earlier back into that round, that looked a bit weak from DarkZero, right? There was a jam on the wall, they throw a Selma, that didn't work. Then they Kali lands the wall, throw another Selma, that didn't work. Then they have one Selma left, they kind of give up on that. They said, alright, whatever, just run through Bakery, try and break open the round. They kind of get an equal trade back to that 3 versus 3, but then they didn't really progress from there. You spoke about the Onigiri shotgun. Now, at first you'd be surprised, but as I said earlier, anything you know about Rainbow Six Siege, you know, that makes sense, doesn't really make sense here. They, like, Elevate love playing shotguns. They do it on Echo shotgun, they play Hibana shotgun, they play shotgun on Pulse, which is something we haven't seen for years, and of course, on Thunderbird as well, also the shotgun. So if you guys see it, do not be mistaken. I don't think the Elevate players forgot to do their setups on land build. I simply just think that they are a shotgun kind of team. And that's something that kind of catches you off guard. If you see a Thunderbird, you would never in your right mind think, oh, don't go nearby, there's a shotgun player. No, you think it's a spear. No.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, I think that's the first time I've seen that shotgun be used in comp play from a Thunderbird, as you pointed out. If you're bringing a Cav, teams will like to bring that shotgun on Cav. Obviously, it's available for both these operators, but Thunderbird does tend to get used a little bit farther back with that spear in hand, as you denoted it. Either way, it's an upstairs defense now, and this is, well, a little bit more normal in regards to the setup. Obviously, that mute play inside a Bakery with the Thunderbird in as well is not something we see all the time, but instead, Elevate will be defending up top, and they've positioned themselves in such a way that they've got the bathroom hold, they've got that deployable shield at Pixel. They're going to try to keep the attackers at bay from inside a piano, and, well, it's a nice thing that Canadian's on Twitch, as he can be reunited with that EG skin from the old days.
That is a throwback indeed. Seeing a pretty basic setup from Elevate. Oh, you can almost call this boring from their standards. I didn't think they would just do like basic setups, but they have, and they've done so quite well. They got the shield inside of Pixel, they got the shield inside of Stock, so double shield setup. Of course, DC will have to now clear this. They're doing so with the flashbangs and the grenades. First shield gets blown up to pieces, and this is where the Wamai ban kind of comes into play from DarkZero, where, well, this becomes a lot easier with Wamai off the board. The only thing in your path is the Jaeger, limited ADSs, you only have 3 of those in a round. Of course, they recharge, but all you gotta do to make sure to circumvent that is to clear it rather quickly. That's not a problem for these pro teams. I will say, DC in the past, in like Stage 3 and whatnot, more in recent times with the current roster, they had this issue in NAL where they would kind of stall and waste a lot of time not being super proficient. That supposedly is fixed now based off interviews we've had with players and teams and whatnot, but I will say the first one we see so far has been rather slow.
DCH deciding to swing onto the red hatch, and he's not able to do much, so he and Napew will walk right back up to the stairs, or rather Napew will, as DCH decided, hey, I don't really want to go in that particular direction, so he heads back down into reading. Hyper holding inside of Cigar. Right now, DZ's push is coming from over towards Piano, which is where we saw all of that investment being made from Elevate onto the bathroom wall, which has been completely opened up. This has forced all of Elevate back into the depths of Cocktail. Pambazu gets a good long look at Onigiri and then gets destroyed in the ensuing gunfight. And another follow-up from Elevate as DZ are running headfirst into this Elevate wall. Onigiri still in the same spot, just tearing right through them, and down goes Eclipse. 2 players left for DarkZero as Elevate are making an absolute statement. A grenade gets tossed out and Hyper will follow up, but it's another from Onigiri. Okay. Looking to try and outduel NJR. Turn sideways, it's Nay to finish off, and Elevate, what an incredible start with these 2 rounds.
That's a great start and good gunplay to follow up with that as well. We saw Nigir with the DMR getting a 3k on that round, basically playing inside of stock Freezer with those double shields set up, something that DarkZero failed to clear. You can actually annihilate those shields from the Skylight itself, so before you're dropping into Cigar and getting exposed and boxed in, you can go Skylight, flash it, nade it, clear it, then drop the hatches, and then you've kind of already dealt with that step that you'll be meeting later on. They cleared the 90 shield or Pixel shield with perfection, but then after that, they kind of stagnated. They didn't progress through the round, and now they'll be attacking Reading, which is a very similar situation with the shields and the setup on top floor, so now they get a second try at this same attack, or similar attack.
Well, Reading onto that second floor, this is where you could see a castle get particularly brought out if you want, trotted out, as we dare say it, but does not appear to be the case. Instead, the lineup that I see from Elevate, Nick, is going to pair themselves very well to that top floor.
Yeah.
So, go upstairs, maybe hold some map control, that's not too bad at all. But pretty standard setup in regards to the way that they're going to shoot out the floor. They'll probably shoot out head level onto the wall as well, leading into Reading to give themselves a line of sight. And essentially by doing that, you are preventing the attackers from taking up space so quickly because they have to check those angles. It's easy for you as a defender to swing through them.
Certainly, opening up angles for the opposing team is extremely important. It's the same with barbed wire. Essentially, is not the greatest utility, but if there's a barbed wire on a staircase, you're not going to be cheeky as an attacker and walk through it. You see, okay, there's a barbed wire there, I'm going to respect it, I'm going to walk away. However, if you see there's missing barbed wire, no barbed wire at all, it's like, oh, I can just walk up the staircase. They're not respecting the possibility of this rat play that I can do. And Elevate actually playing a very basic and standard siege again, doing the same similar whole top floor, and this is again DarkZero's redemption round. Can they now, with the experience of the last round where they failed to clear it successfully, can they now figure out what the problems were and then do it successfully? Now, that is the test that they have in front of them, and if you're DarkZero or a DarkZero fan, you really want them to learn from their mistakes.
Well, first point of contact for DarkZero will likely occur on this top floor, especially with how Elevate is currently holding it. They are once again back over towards the bathroom side of things, and that was the Jaeger that we saw playing in that area of DCH, watching from the doorway into Piano. There he is.
There he is. DCH against DC. That's a lot of Ds.
It is, yes, and there is a big joke that I could make, but I'm not gonna make it. Canadian takes out the Goyo shield in the back of Bar, and then immediately it prompts the Goyo to have to get off of that position. There's a second Goyo shield still up inside a bathroom, which is where DCH is playing, as we said before. He has not moved from that spot. At any point, he can hit that gas barrel and run, allowing the flames to spread and peel off to try to get back to the bomb site. Deceptively fast round, as we've lost 90 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, it's fast round, but not much has happened. We actually saw DCH now moving back to top white planks because half the round has now been burned. You gotta play more together now and expect to push from DarkZero because it can be any moment now as they gotta start making their way through the map.
Well, we have to provide our own sound effects right now. No, we're not doing this again.
No?
No.
I can make Hyper sound. I can just keep going to 400 bullets.
Hyper's going to creep on up. He's got a ton of munition and will hit the adrenal surge, walking ever closer to that Aruni gate, which is not able to be reset. And, well, it's the infamous disappearing act. As he sees the Goyo and gets the very first pick onto Napew, playing in that position, down he goes. But DCH lords over White Stairs, and he reascends, taking down Hyper in his place.
Yeah, you got 45 seconds left still. Now Onigiri picking up a second onto Canadian. That's Twitch off the board. Looking quite good for Elevate. They still have first floor control, and of course, side is still theirs. DC will need to take use of the verticality, but they gotta do it extremely quickly. There's no room for mistakes here.
And NJR with the demolition work above, who will try to watch over a possible diffuser getting planted with Eclipse, who's playing on these more passive roles. Still smashing away, waiting for Pambazoo to get by his side as Eclipse and Pambazoo now sit by the reading door. They have an opportunity to break on in, but the 4 players remaining from Elevate will be looking in this direction. Sounds like a Nitro Cell went off, does not connect. Eclipse gets destroyed by Nyrix, and there's more as well, as that Alda will just spray away. NJR is above, and he's managed to get it down, securing the kill but that's all she wrote. Elevate, what a phenomenal beginning to this matchup. They're up 3-0.
They are, and this is Kafe Defense. It is the easier side, I would argue. Of course, that doesn't mean you should go 0-3 in your first 3 attacking rounds, but Elevate, I think when it's your first big event, you're against a big opponent in DarkZero, it's quite nice for your mental game to have a bit of a freedom moment here. Like, it's happy, we're winning, we're laughing, we're clutching, we're shooting, pew-pewing. I think that's probably going to be the biggest strength for Elevate going into this best of 3, because getting a bad beginning can take a negative effect on your mental. Getting a positive beginning obviously have the opposite effect of having a happy start. So they're going to be feeling good about this. And DC, not really with the best of vibes on screen right now.
And DarkZero have called a timeout after 3 rounds against Elevate, Nick. APAC so far are 2-0 today, and well, it looks like Elevate are very eager to make that the case. I know that people were sleeping on Elevate. They came into this matchup as one of the highest ranked teams in all of APAC. People forget this, that because of the way that the point dispersion works, that Elevate come in very highly ranked. I think they're 6th or 8th, if I remember correctly.
8th, if I remember correctly, yeah.
And people are sleeping on them. Yeah. People are sleeping on this Elevate team. As Dev said, it's the first team from Thailand to compete at this level. They're coming in with I honestly think, pretty low expectations.
Yeah.
They come in, people are doubting them. They've never come to an international event before. Your big focus is going to be on amassing as much experience as possible and then growing from that. So DarkZero already have their hands full. This is their map. They are down 3 rounds immediately. And after the results that DZ have had over these last 2 majors, yes, they made it to the quarters in Mexico, didn't go farther than that. They got bombed out in Sweden before. And this is not the start that they want if they want to be able to keep toe with the rest of this group.
Yeah, they got second in NL finals, losing to Sonics rather in the grand finals. They beat SSG to get there, but NL finals doesn't have the most amount of merit because right now we're not domestic, we're international. So that's a bit of a different playground. So DC had the timeout. I'm pretty sure BC was talking to the players like, guys, let's get into swing. I know that in the past, BC has spoken about DarkZero as, what did he say? It's like, they kind of take a while to get the wheels going, but then once the wheels are going, they feel a lot better about themselves. You have a best of 3 now. You can sack the first map, in theory, as long as you show up in the following 2. That's okay, but there is no promise, there is no guarantee that that's the case ever. So sacking the first map just puts you back against the wall, and, well, if that's where you like to be, so be it, but it shouldn't be where you want to be.
Yeah. So here we go, underway with round number 4. A newly settled in DarkZero team is going to hope to do the best they can with it, and Canadian doesn't want to lose this Twitch drone in the process, but the Oryx doesn't have any interest whatsoever in taking care of that Twitch drone. We can go back and just watch for a second and see exactly what scouting missions DZ is going to go on as this Twitch drone and its tasers continue to take out just about every single cam that they can. Knowing that this is going to be a kitchen take, their lineup will likely be similar to what we saw before, even if we do see a slightly different Elevate playing off of this bomb site. I like some of the changes that have been presented by this roster.
No, certainly. We also see Onigiri now on a real weapon, if you will, no longer on that shotgun. I do think the shotgun's a bit questionable on the basement bomb side. We have 4 players from Elevate, like, tucked on site, and then we have 1 person kind of loose roaming up above. DC yet to kind of make their move just yet, figuring out if they want to go for a straight basement attack or want to clear up the floor above. It seems to be a repetition of the previous round on basement, the first one, where they're just going to hit Bakery straight up, try and clear out this player, and then progress from there. Hyper, opening clones, and Napu.
And well done, and you need more of that from DarkZero. They've also smoked it off, and Sapper will toss out a nitro cell that does not collect the way that he wants it to, still with the smoke in front of him. He's got Nirix for backup right next door. Onigiri takes out Canadian, and down goes the Twitch. Canadian yet to find a single kill, and I think that's all she wrote for the front Bakery defense from Elevate. They'll reinforce the panel and immediately fall back, which allows Nirix to play safer inside of the bomb site. It also allows Elevate to stack up inside of prep if they so choose and play off of that close angle. They've got a soft wall next to them that's been opened up, but not allowing clear access for the attackers. A bit of a missed mark for Onigiri as NJR does work above to smash open the floor and punish the Thunderbird, who was sitting there and right now is top fragging for his team.
So there's no jammer on the primary breach from Bakery into Kitchen side, but they also only have one Selma charge left from DarkZero, so they will have very limited breaching capabilities to work with, so NJR on that vertical play really has to do some damage. He's already found one kill, but I do think they need a little bit more. Prone in the breach, nade in hand, Narek swings and gets the kill. The nade is useless.
And down they continue to go. A second for NJR above as he lords over those openings. Narek's unavailable for the rest of this round. Sapper and DCH side by side, watching to see where that diffuser is going to go. Once again, this big roll swap for DZ was to take Canadian off of hard breach, and Eclipse has that diffuser in hand. Do they know that it's going down? NJR a third from above, and a pop-up from Eclipse, but DCH can't do much with it. He's got a kill of his own, but there's two more to find. Toying with him just inside of prep, there's drone that's jammed, so there's no intel going to come off of this as DCH continues in that direction. He needs to watch from above to see if there's somebody there, but he gives his position away by making a sound. Out-duels Eclipse, and the last one up is NJR, who's just going to sit over top of those holes. Pop on it and see if NJR can get to you in time. He can. 4 kills for NJR, a huge round. He goes massive, and DZ find themselves their very first round on Kafe.
DC playing that 1 versus 2 pretty smart. The NJR on the vertical did not hold his teammate, did not challenge the vertical host because they knew as long as NJR is alive up above, it doesn't matter what happens down below. Having the vertical play in that post-down position is absurdly strong for the attackers. So you'd sell your teammate short, he dies, you get the 1v1, it's basically a guaranteed round regardless. DC is now on the board 1-3 in scoreline, but one interesting thing to look at is DC has the opening kill 3 out of the 4 rounds so far, I believe, which is, well, it doesn't look like that on the scoreboard because they're down rounds. So opening kill doesn't mean much, and again with the Apex aggression, they also often swing it back and they trade back the kills, so 1 kill becomes 1 kill on both sides, which means you're back to a 4v4. There isn't really a whole lot of advantage to be had in that scenario.
No, not at all. And one of the things that we do see about these types of Bakery takes is that when you have a very linear defense on Bakery, you don't have anybody up top, you don't have anybody on that second floor, and you end up getting boxed in. Once a Buck, once a Sledge, once a Zofia can settle in up there and start tearing away at the floor inside of mining, you're trapped down below. There's nowhere for you to go. The reverse is also true. We have seen defensive teams settle in up top on that second floor, and once that first Bakery wall gets opened up in the kitchen, teams struggle because they haven't put anybody up on the second floor. So just goes to show you how verticality is so important at this level. A very close round for Elevate still. So even though DarkZero gets themselves on the board, Elevate are not going to be too upset with that round, I feel like, and they are in the driver's seat at the present moment. Just a brief rehost going on for you to fix that unfortunate annoyance that we heard with the drone/mute issue, and we'll get back into the game and hope that all has been resolved and that we will once again be back with sound.
Certainly, and we just saw the Elevate players, it smiles across their faces. They very clearly like the position that they're in, and I think, yeah, they're just here for the experience, for the good vibes, and if they can get some dumps along the way, they'll take it. I mean, they're here to play. It's definitely shown the first 4 rounds, and I don't think they're going to slow down anytime soon. We got Kafe into Chalet with a possible banked 3rd map if we want to go the distance. All of these maps, maybe with the exception of Kafe, have a lot of mobility available to them, and I do think a team like Elevate, they like mobility, moving and maneuvering around the map, jump outs, etc., aggressive plays, spawn peaks. So I think Kafe is going to be the most normal, if you will, map of this best of 3. It's only really gonna get crazier from here, I imagine. So if DC can get the first map, they get a bit of safety net, but if they don't, they really gotta step it up the full amount of Chalet, because I think that's where Elevate might go nuclear, if anything.
Absolutely. So the stats have reset, but Onigiri has been the standout performer for Elevate. NJR doing work for DarkZero. Canadian had yet to find a kill, and I just want to keep that in mind because as much as he's a support player and as much as, well, a flex support player on this team, it is still important that he's able to get on the board.
Certainly. I mean, I always said when I was a player, the first kill is the hardest as well as the most important. Once you're on the board, it's like, I can't drop a donut now, I've done my thing. And it kind of feels like that's your entry into the game. If you go like 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds and you're on 0 kills, it can actually affect you mentally and kind of linger in the back of your head like, oh, you gotta stop doing stuff.
Onigiri doing exactly what he did previously, which is he'll shoot the panel and then hope for some kind of early pick. Can't accomplish it.
Oh. You can say he wants to pew-pew his opponents, which Nay would be very familiar with. Nay actually doesn't have pew in his name today, so Nay is normally called Nay Pew. Today, it's just Nay, which is funny because who doesn't like having pew in your name? It's like it's a shooter game, you have pew-pew, it's kind of like it's just vibes. Hatch is being sledgehammered open from NJR. DC 2 players on drones trying to figure out what the layout looks like. We see red paints coming out onto those bubbles. The bubble is the evil eye, Maestro's camera, Maestro's gadget. So that is what a bubble is. The Retero drone now should be doing work, jumping up, getting stuck inside the cabinet, but gets the ADS as well as the bubble, so that's great clearing from them. You can kind of take your time now if you're DarkZero and just doing utility clear duty from the roof so that when you drop down into a cigar shop and whatnot, you've already done the first step. The next one should be the shield inside of stock, and there it goes.
I have never heard the noise that Retero drone made.
I've heard that a couple times. When it clips a surface, it kind of like wiggle waggles and it just repeats the sound.
Is that the noise? A wiggle waggle?
A wiggle waggle, yeah.
Wiggle waggle. Okay, got it. They managed to take out the Goyo shield inside of back bars, so that is a good first step, and they are inching towards an execute, but they've got some things still left to be done. Number one, these laser gates, as Ace calls them, right in front of us. They need to be taken care of, and there you go, burned with a Gone 6. You got 30 seconds to waltz on through, but in the meantime, Hyper will breathe in some of that toxic canister and then toss out a grenade over towards the bomb chassis to potentially clear out other utility. 1 minute left to go here in round number 5, and there's a bunch of eyes from Elevate trained hard on these bomb sites, and especially over towards that cigar door and towards Red Hatch. Will they be able to accomplish anything as more of the floor is being torn up, which allows for DZ to walk into the freezer? Elevate are prepared to greet it. Look at how aggressive Elevate is being, though, Nick. They are ready and waiting to take these engagements against DZ, as they've been winning a lot of these fights so far today. But Pamazoo leads things off. He gets the very first kill on Nyrix. Onigiri is down now as well. In fact, all of Elevate are just collapsing like a house of cards. Nay will try to swing, but he gets outswung by NJR, and it's a flawless round, all right, from DZ.
That kind of seemed like it came out of nowhere. It looked like DC was about to be stuck. They breached open that freezer wall. I was thinking, oh no, they've boxed themselves inside piano. Panbet finds 2 opening kills that kind of opens up the map. And then NGR got one, Eclipse got one, and, well, flawless round out of nowhere. We saw one in the previous matchup that we had earlier today between Sonics and Empire. And now we've seen a flawless round between Elevate and DC, and we're just on the first map. 3-2 in favor of Elevate. Last attack for DarkZero right now. And it's going to be back down the floor to reading fireplace as we did previously.
Very final defense now for Elevate before the side swap, and we'll see if any major change comes on that second half. This map obviously has that same distinction of being defender favored. When you add to it that most of these maps do, it ends up being a wash. Just assume that most of the maps are defender favored. We aren't in a position anymore where Coastline is more attacker favored, or even Oregon is more attacker favored. It just tends to be all maps are right now tilting towards the defense. But that hasn't stopped us from seeing some attacker-sided matchups today either.
No, I mean, it's always a matter of the matchup at hand. If you have a team that plays a certain playstyle, will that be very aggressive or very passive? And how does that fare against the opposing team's matchup? So, for example, Elevate DarkZero. Well, if Elevate's a very aggressive team, typically, and DC's a very strategical team, well, a lot of teams that play strategical struggle with aggression because they're not expecting it, or they're not used to it, or they want to do their 1-2-3 step plan, but then the aggressive team says, nah, we're just gonna like throw like a spanner in the, what's it called, a hammer in the spanner, a spanner in the wheel. You gotta throw something at something, and then it just all, you know, breaks apart. What is it saying? A spanner in the wheel? I don't know what it's saying is, Parker. I need help.
I have no idea.
You know the saying is like you throw a spanner in the wheel and it like stops it from like turning or something?
I don't know.
Ah man, I'm gonna look it up later. Anyway. So you stop the wheel from turning, and then like you stop it in their tracks. That's
a wrench in the plan, gum up the gears.
Yeah, a wrench
something
in
like
the
that.
something.
That's the name you're looking for, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a mechanic. I'm just a video gamer.
Well,
you unplugged the mouse. How about that?
There you go.
Speaking of that, Canadian just unplugged Onigiri. He's off the board. It's a 5 versus 4.
Hey, and it's the first kill for Canadian. Everybody applaud. Troy has found his way onto the board. And with that, it is the 4th round in a row where DZ have started off these festivities.
Yeah. Looking good for DC. They're kind of finding their pace. That timeout might just have done the trick. And I do think that BC calling out the early timeout is better than later because you have a long match ahead of you.
Hyper will now assess the second floor as he walks down red stairs and pre-fires away as there's a slight jiggle peak, but nobody ends up taking any real damage. Right now, just trying to work on this clock and get as much map control as you can. This A bomb site is Hyper's for the taking if he wants it. A lengthy reload inside of Train, as there's a body down prone on the floor. Still alive, by the way, not incapacitated or down, but neither in nor out. So, all right. Opening up the wall next to the fireplace, and now down by pillars as well. The spread from DarkZero all over on the west side of the building.
Yeah, so note that DarkZero brought out the Nomad, and most of those air jumps are going to go up above to help ensure the top floor is stabilized. And then you're going to have one player most likely just holding the flanks top floor, have 3-4 guys working below, kind of approaching the side. So it's like a limited take is what we call this. You only take what you absolutely need up top, and you just work the first.
Okay, well, Nay just decides to peek the doorway, not aware that NJR is in such close proximity, and with it, his head very swiftly removed from his body. But a bit of negligence from Hyper as DCH is up above, and Hyper gets caught out by pillars. Now over towards Cocktail, or over towards Cigar rather, as he walks out of Cocktail. DarkZero still need to find their footing and push towards the bomb site, but DCH might be getting a little bit too close. Does he know that there's somebody inside of Cigar? It's NJR, softens him up, but not enough for the kill. A second for NJR in that pivotal position. Ascending the stairs is Sapper. He's going to try to get side by side with Nirix, but he's spotted by Pambazoo. It just leaves the Maestro, who might not even have been spotted. Tries to walk in, but he gets shut down. Call it reading, and he gets read like a book. After taking that timeout, DarkZero wins 3 in a row. Turns out they needed to settle their nerves, and they're back on even footing.
Looking a lot better now, I'd say, and yeah, maybe a slow start for them, but I also gotta worry about the finish. We got the side swap coming through, DC goes in the defense, Elevate will hop on the attack, and I think this is kind of where we need to watch Elevate and what they'll be doing next. The Amaro was banned for a reason. DarkZero anticipates or have studied that is a big factor they can bring in their aggression, so they want to remove it off the board, and so now, what will Elevate now replace that with to answer back? That is what we gotta figure out. Canadian, 6ing from the Goyo onto the Kaid, so not gonna see a single shield on the defensive lineup this time around. That's very atypical. Normally we see at least one shield being brought every single round, so I think this speaks to a more passive setup where you're probably gonna reinforce both freezer walls, kite them possibly below in library, extend one floor below, you have a C4 as well, and you can kind of play this map more dynamically. And Troy Canadian of all people is known for his vertical C4s. Used to be a postman of all things. He knows how to do it.
All right, well, tail of the tape on that first half, by the way. Elevate getting 2 opening picks, 2 DarkZeros, 4. In terms of timeouts being taken, DarkZero have burned theirs. So if Elevate starts to amass another lead here on the second half, there's nothing that DarkZero can do. The only way to break Elevate's momentum will need to be done in the server. There's no timeout, no ability for them to talk. But it certainly seems like DarkZero have settled down. And with this being their map choice, they picked a great time to get back into this matchup.
That they did, and it does seem to be the case where, yeah, a very passive setup from DarkZero. Both the bathroom and the freezer walls are double reinforced. Canadian on the Kaid will play below with reinforcements, and he can now ensure himself his own safety, and then that Kite Claw in that top corner will cover the walls up above. So a passive setup from DC. The Thatcher is banned, there's no Kyle on the board. Nay with the Twitch is the only way to clear this out, so Canadian will need to be on his guard. If the Twitch drone saps the Kite Claw, that's value lost, but Elevate attacking from the basement, Troy might be in trouble.
Or the main floor, as we call it in North America, but I suppose
I call it basement.
We're in Europe right now, so I guess we'll go by with what you want.
You let it slide. I appreciate it.
They're tracking the Kaid now, as that's Canadian, who will be firmly in the sights of the Jackal. The spread out from DZ is all over the map, and Canadian will be playing down and reading. Shoots the drone away and then just watches to see if someone is heading his way up white stairs. Nobody for now, but he does have a defense next to him of that wall, double reinforced with an Electroclaw, so he can hide behind the overturned bookcase and not worry about getting pinched. That's a lot of utility for the attackers to use to shake off that Electroclaw and try to go after the wall. Instead, Elevate will likely need to engage in a series of fisticuffs with him to get him out of that spot, should they even want to.
Yeah, note that Canadian does have vertical play on the door to pillar, so he only has to worry about the door to wide hallway. The rest should be covered by his teammates, but Nerix, he's creeping around. Does Troy read this situation?
Well, he gets thrown down and flushed perfectly out as Nerix knew exactly where he was. Back up the white stairs he goes. Could somebody else be in that particular area? No. No footprints for him to grab either. He hears the thunderous steps and for but a second sees some headgear and oh my goodness, how is that call not made? Oh. Nerix is just cleaning up right now. Try not to peek Nerix challenge. Impossible. Right now everybody from DarkZero swinging in that direction. The C7E being put to good work. Nerix finally taken out by Hyper and Eclipse is a lineup, but he's going to get flashed before hopping on over and Sapper's just a little bit too slow.
Yeah, with 45 seconds left and both Eclipse and Hybrid being oh so low on health, this is looking quite dire. But remember, don't count them out just yet. The Alder, it has so many bullets. You can shoot back forever. One person, two person, bring all three, it doesn't matter. Spots comes out, but nothing connects.
He's waiting very patiently behind that smoke. You can see him waiting to fire on in, but Eclipse gets spotted and taken down. That puts Hyper in a 1v3, but the suffering is ended by DCH and Elevate take the first round since round number 3, and most importantly, the first round of theirs on attack.
I really like what DC was doing. I like the more passive setup. I like the Kite Claw below. I didn't like the lack of support they provided with Troy with, because he was left on an island down below. And sure, there's a little bit of verticality. Troy was left to watch one door alone, but the 50-50 gunfight didn't go in his favor, and thus he falls apart. And when Troy dies, so does the Kite Claw, and that kind of renders that entire strategy useless if you're gonna protect the wall. So either you put the Kite Claw up above, where it's more accessible but also less risky, or you give your player down below more support so that if they choose to come for him, you can make something out of it. Trade back a kill, or at the very least hold the ground more proactively. Create more vertical holes, because there are the shotguns on the defensive sides. You gotta make sure you use them at the very best. More holes is better than no holes at all, so if anything, break the floor a little bit more. Eclipse showing us the Russian operator of Tishanka. Again, starting to see more and more play. And of course, he brings his shield. We all love deployable shields.
Do we? That's the...
Yes, we do.
Do we?
We do. They're so important. That's why they're played every single round. The value they bring...
I don't know if we do.
We do. You know what we didn't like? We didn't like the Goyo My Jaeger meta with tons of utility. That we did not like.
I will say this, watching Tachanka just like rhythmically shoot out walls is like, oh, it's a symphony, isn't it? Oh no, are they opening the whole wall?
Yes, they would look... Yeah, I think they're...
Oh, I mean, they're trying to. There it is. Okay, wow, this is a new one. So, we'll see how this unfolds. You've already got some hard breach being done, by the way. I don't know what part they specifically opened up. My guess is, yeah, there's a small window opened into the delivery door, which will allow them a line of sight to the back of Freezer with a single reinforcement on that Freezer panel. Ditto a single reinforcement on the prep panel as well. So, they're almost tempting Elevate to try and pressure from those spots and then gun them down in the process.
Yeah, it's a very typical extension where you both hold the bakery extended and also the VIP, one freezer wall being soft, that way you can help with the crossfires. And yeah, it's 5 players from DarkZero in the basement. They're not going to be contesting in the roam, they're not going to be denying that many drones. So it's all coming down to Elevate. Can they pick apart this defense? Do they know which side they want to go for? Because you can only really pick and choose one side. Either you hit the bakery or you hit VIP in the backside. You cannot choose both, and this doesn't work. There's not enough time, there's too much ground to cover, and it's simply too many things to do. So, vertically comes out, see if they can find anything from it. DarkZero players should be hiding from it. It would be a very big sin if they got caught in the fire.
Oh, so many bullets. And with all that gunfire, by the way, still 61 left, for the record, from Nay. And we'll sit on red stairs and have plenty of opportunity to just dump all of those bullets and all those munitions into the kitchen. The sledge still above. We got to see when NJR was on this roll last time for DarkZero how strong a sledge can be on this particular site when you're trying to pull off an execute. And unless DZ can do something about Onigiri, you're going to be in a really hard spot, because that sledge is going to continue to chip away at any type of protection that you might have above you and make the common spots where you're used to sitting quite uncomfortable.
That they are indeed. It looks like to be a backside take from Elevate. It's one guy on the white stairs, one guy Garrett's door. So what is the reply from DarkZero now? They have Hyber here trying to play for the crossfire, and they're all going to play around the VIP player. Nate comes out, so you step backwards. It's Pambasu of all player, rookie of the year, of the split rather. Of the full split, yeah, full year of the NAL. He will have to prove himself in this particular position. Nerex now rotated back to the VIP window, meaning Pambasu's going to be stuck in this corner for quite some time.
DCH has a lineup inside a freezer. He sees the laser gate, but there's nobody right now near it, or at least not that he can see. We know that with the silhouettes there is someone nearby. Oh, swing from Pambasu claims DCH, and the kill feed lights up, but it's DZ right now sitting on top. Sapper and Nerex walking right in, and Sapper literally in, having some trouble with that bulletproof camera, but trying to pull out that diffuser. Does so successfully. Canadian heading back to the site, and Sapper has to get off. NJR outduels him, and that's the round in favor of DarkZero, who once again equalize.
Very nice. Panda actually swinging the player inside like Garrett, winning that gunfight was quite big for them. That essentially means that every single threat from the side of Elevate is going to be on one side of the map. So the pins kind of got nullified by Panda, well done by him. And DarkZero, they didn't over-rotate into Elevate. They stuck their ground, they understood what they needed to hold, and it worked out for them. Even though Sapper got the injury from the hatch drop, it didn't matter ultimately because he managed to get the man advantage, and even without any yokai drones that neither plant, it just ended up not mattering at all. Guns can do a lot of damage. It's not all about gadgets, and in this current meta of Rainbow Six Siege, aggression and gunfight skill really goes a long way. It's kind of why Latin's on top and why APEC is so dominant, because they can just shoot with so much precision, the aggression, and also synergy, I think. Understanding that playing together is such a big strength, playing off each other.
Is LATAM on top, though, because they have not won a match yet today?
Hey, it's day one, okay?
Alright, you're right.
I mean...
I was joking, by the way, for those that are about to get offended.
Yeah, don't get offended.
I promise you it's a joke. See?
We saw some pretty banger games today. I mean, we were in the talent room watching the OXG Navi game, and if you guys haven't seen it, you don't have to. You don't gotta go back. It was a quick one.
You mean OXG playing some T-Hunt?
Yeah, the big warm-up. Yes. Yeah, they're just doing the warm-up for their actual first match, aka their second match, because, yeah, that was... Sheesh! Okay, that was the second time, no more. Mirror being brought up by NJR, that is something that we'd love to see. This is going to make it much harder for Elevate to actually progress on the map. Eclipse with the mute jammers to go with it. If you got a mirror, there gotta be a jammer, otherwise that mirror will be gone very quickly. Good stuff.
Already one of those windows opened up that lead to Cocktail, and, well... I am not surprised to see DarkZero go back here after that first round, and obviously feeling a little bit more confident, maybe a bit more moxie from them in this particular manner. Onigiri's focus right now is on red stairs, and hard to tell from the spectating, if, like, the way that this game spectates, if Sapper just missed the barricade. I don't see stuff like that and think, did he? I don't think so. So, anyway. This is a similar setup to what we've seen out of NA before, but look at that. The castle barricade with the Aruni gate in front of it is really fascinating on the bathroom door. This is a lot of protection right now for Pambasu, because you're going to need to burn through both of those. You can't just throw an X-Kairos at it. You can't just shoot it with an Ash charge. You've got to actually get rid of it, and two of those X-Kairos go to open up the big doorway for the castle barricade. Grenade primed and ready from below, with Nay looking for a common spot towards Aruni, but no, Hyper's able to dodge it for now. There's a player from DarkZero down in Reading again, by the way. This was Canadian in the past, now it's Eclipse in this spot. Half of the round played out. There's been no real action between these players just yet.
I think Eclipse is gonna have a bad day soon. They got two placements that are kind of surrounding him, one side inside of pillars and this guy on the white stairs. So Nate actually comes out.
How many nades do they have, really? There's been so many going off. Canadian falls as well, Nick, and Eclipse swings, and you said he was going to have a bad day?
There it is.
An absolute
bad day.
Bomb located by attack.
And he's in a 2v5, and all of a sudden it was quite dire. NGR, Pambasu gotta clutch it up now to swing this back into their favor. Pamba looking to make the engagement, but no! Onigiri reads it, sees it, and takes him down.
That leaves NJR now in a 1v5, a flawless on the board, and it doesn't end up happening. Oh my, Nay gets dragged down at the last second, and because of that, There is no flawless, but again, they go back and forth. There was a flawless earlier on from DarkZero. Elevate squeezing out another round as these teams on the second half look far more evenly balanced.
That they do. That they do indeed, and now DC are actually hovering Fireplace mining bomb site. That is quite rare to see, at least in Europe. I don't know if NA is more fond of it, but it's usually like, this is like a last resort kind of scenario, or if you have a flex strat, of course. Normally, there is like a version of this bomb site where like you play Castle Post, you can like play below in basement. I've seen that a couple times. Not in recent times, Post doesn't get a lot of play. I think the UMP just holds you back a little bit. Even though its land and guns are feeling a little bit better on land, I still think fire rate is king, especially given that, you know, one-shot headshots are a thing. So the more bullets you can get out of your barrel before you die, it's just more opportunities to get the one-shot headshot factor. And the UMP doesn't shoot that fast.
No, it does not. All right, well, it's going to be a mining defense. The first time we've seen this bomb site, if my stats are correct. So we usually see any truers in chat?
Any truers?
Any truers? Any truers in chat?
It's true.
Any truers in chat? True. True.
What else is true?
10 seconds left.
Zero being played, actually. I just saw that. Zero being brought up by Onigiri. See, I didn't expect it from Elevate. I did not expect this at all. I was expecting crazy aggression, and they have been playing aggressive, don't get me wrong, but they've actually been playing solid Rainbow Six Siege and playing quite, like, normal, if you will. Oh! Good night, Panbasu.
Look at Sapper laughing right now as he knows that was just a single shot. And my goodness gracious, what a shot that was. Panbasu taking some chances, getting a little cute, and unfortunately for him, he gets beaten out by Elevate.
This goes to show that when you're playing these rounds, especially a map like Kafe where spawn peak and all those windows are available, you really gotta be on your toes on both sides. Like one moment where you're just like not paying attention, you just lose your head.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
A really
Gotta
good point.
stay alert. You know, if there's like a a terror drone that drives by you, if you don't shoot it, it's gonna blow up your shield. That's just how it is. Yeah, shoot him.
All right, nice shot there from Nyrix to open up that hatch, and now a grenade will go. Whoa! So well played by DCH. That is coming to a ranked game near you. And now Canadian is down for the count as well. Elevate just running a clinic at the moment on DarkZero, and now Eclipse is next. Nyrix on this entry has been formidable, but he's just claiming every soul that lines up in front of him. Elevate unhappy that on the previous round they were denied the flawless at the last second. Well, they've got another golden opportunity to do that. Hyper himself, formidable is a great word to describe him too, but that's an awful lot for him to do. Takes down Nyrix, immediately pivots. Diffuser being planted by Sapper, it's successful. So Hyper now knows what exactly needs to be done. Head back over to the bomb site, but he's miles away, miles away. Grenade goes out, Tracers whiz by, beautiful shot again from Hyper, but there's just too many people still left upright. You can make a couple nice shots, but 5 of them, that's a tough one to do. DZ was on their back foot after Panbasu was killed within the first 20 seconds of the round, and Elevate finds themselves stunningly on match point on DZ's map.
Honestly, not a bad try from Hyper. I kind of wish that those shots had been coming out before it was a 1 versus 5, like a literal 1v5. Elevate that round, best described as speedrunning versus DC 100%. Yeah, that was a speedrun and a half. They kind of just found kill after kill after kill. I was particularly fond of the one tap from Sapper, but this right here. They shotgun top of the freezer wall, then tossed the nade through that breach into the floor and killed the player of NGR inside of dining, all thanks to a yellow ping from a drone they had previously placed in the prep phase. One can assume that is a beautiful thing to do, and it shows the complexity of Rainbow Six Siege where, well, there's a wall in front of you, and then there's a floor, or a ceiling rather, and if you break the wall, you can throw an angle-weight grenade into the ceiling and therefore kill the player a floor above you, which is ridiculous. So always keeping these things in mind, that danger from above, danger from below, and you never really know exactly when you're safe, because as long as the enemy has information of where you are and they have a grenade in their pocket, well, you can just die.
Danger from above, danger from below, danger, danger, danger. Anywhere you go.
Okay.
So
Nice.
this is why you gotta. This is why they pay me the slightly above average bucks. Okay.
that's why. That's the
sole reason why.
Okay.
Is to be able to come up with that stuff on the fly. And I rhymed again. Look at that. How do you do?
That's incredible.
All right. right, Elevate on match point. If they win, which is very likely at the moment, DarkZero will need to win the next 2 rounds in a row. Then we go to Chalet, which is Elevate's pick. DarkZero came in obviously having done their homework. They understood in that first half what needed to be done. They took the timeout, and they seemed to regain their footing. This is what I said when they took that timeout, was because you have to burn it so early in the matchup. If you end up in free fall, you do not have a second parachute. That's it. You continue to fall. And DarkZero have won a single round on defense. That's it. Other than that, it has been Elevate all the way down. They have looked quite dominant. Round number 9, almost a flawless round until the final second. There's a trade that, unfortunately for Elevate fans, claims Nay. Nay, by the way, who died very early in this contest. So it's a reversal of what we saw in the previous round. And the round right before that, it was also very nearly a flawless with that diffuser getting planted and 4 people from Elevate still upright. So these last 2 rounds in particular, very impressive from an Elevate standpoint.
Absolutely true. And speaking of, well, let's speak of the past. It's a spanner in the works. I figured it was a spanner.
Did somebody DM you? Did you
Okay,
Google
someone
it?
DM'd me. I was.
You didn't even
I
think of it yourself.
All right. I couldn't.
Okay.
Figure it out. It was. I said a range in the work. It's a spanner in the works.
Okay.
So it was close.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. I had to I don't know. I'll figure out. Next time, tomorrow, I'll have a great comeback. It's fine. I just gotta sleep on it, think about it. We're still adjusting to jet lag as well, to be fair. That's like my #1 excuse, is that whenever I sleep, I'm like, jet lagged. Did fly all the way from West Coast America to Sweden. And, I was gonna say, Nerek's almost sent somebody flying himself. It is a 5 versus 4, so Elevate has to find their footing right now.
DZ don't need to work too hard. They just need to wait patiently as Elevate have to bring the fight to them, and they're going to do so without that sledge. So, I mean, in terms of killing potential, Nay has not been the standout performer for this team, so and that's okay. But at the same time, you don't want to be down in numbers the way that they are. X-Kairos being shot out now as DZ wait for the storm to breach their walls, and it starts over by Piano. But all of this focus from Elevate on the top floor is distracting us from the fact the bomb is on the middle floor. It is not a cocktail take for Elevate. Hyper died just a moment ago, by the way, so now we're back to a 4v4, but the time is the real culprit here. No! Eclipse drops on top of Zero somehow, and there's 2 kills from Elevate. NJR could soon follow, but he's taking matters into his own hands, and he'll have to do even more than that. How many hands does NJR have? None, apparently. It doesn't matter. Onigiri stuns DZ, as does the rest of Elevate, and they snag Kafe away from the North American team.
I mean, Dev did say it. Elevate is a dark horse, and here we go. First map goes into their favor. That is a 7-4 victory on DarkZero's map pick. Kafe, arguably the second best map from Elevate, so a bit ballsy for DarkZero to contest it, and we see Elevate, of course, extremely happy with that outcome.
I mean, I can't believe it was a 7-4 in favor of Elevate on any map. I mean, the way that Elevate plays, the fact that they're so underestimated, the changes that DarkZero made. Yes, DarkZero don't have the best track record at LANs, we know that. But Elevate came in as a bit of a mystery to these teams.
Certainly.
And the problem with some teams like that is you can't counterstrat them. You don't really know what you're expecting. Elevate also played in a cup in Thailand, if I remember correctly, just a month or so ago, which means that they were one of the most recently active teams. Most of these teams haven't played in 2 months or so. So Elevate's had some good practice, and it really showed. That's it for map #1. We've got Chalet up next. Will Elevate take their own map and seal the deal 2-0? We'll find out in just a couple minutes. map between these teams, and it's Elevate's map. DZ just got shut down 4-7 with Elevate prevailing on DZ's map. Now it's time for Elevate to potentially close this out in a 2-map contest, or DZ to mount an impressive comeback and send us to map 3, Bank.
Yeah. So Kafe did not go the way that anybody expected, I don't think, and I'm a little bit worried if I'm DarkZero right now, because I think Kafe makes the most sense from a gameplay perspective, where you can kind of limit your opponent's moving capabilities. Chalet's a different story. On Chalet, you can run and run like crazy people if that's what you want to do, and I think it'll become infinitely harder for a team like DC to really make sure that they can capture Elevate where they want to capture them.
Well, here's the score sheet that you see in front of you. NJR 19-5. Excuse me.
Okay.
I was obviously not watching the scoreboard.
The rehost that happened, yeah.
I was obviously not watching the scoreboard anywhere near as closely as I should have been. As for Elevate, quite even across the board. Napew the only one down in terms of KPR/KDR. And I gotta say, I mean, this was a frag fest. Look at what you see in the middle. It came down to kills, it came down to time, it came down to engagements. There was only 2 rounds decided by objective play, and even then, I don't think it was the objective play that decided it.
No.
I just think it means that the objective managed to get down, because I don't remember a single round where the objective was what sold the round in favor of either team. So honestly, Elevate, the more dominant team here, but kudos to NJR for keeping as tough as he was and staying in as long as he did in that match despite the unfavorable results.
Yeah, and I believe you are right. Both the rounds where the plan went down was like a 5 versus 1 or a 4 versus 1, so objectives definitely wasn't the name of the game. And that's on Kafe, a map that usually plays somewhat around the objective. So next up, we got Chalet. It's actually a map that DC has played in the past. Of course, there hasn't been a whole lot of competition in the last 3 months for most of these teams. There was the regional finals like EUL and NAL finals and whatnot. And then, of course, there was the qualifier for the teams that had to go through the qualifier, which neither of these teams had to do. But DC played Chalet once in the last 2 months. So, again, sample size is extremely small. I don't think that matters too much. But, of course, both teams have experience on this map. Everybody knows Chalet by now. It is a rework, so I don't think necessarily that many of these players played back in the day of year 1, but at least Troy can really charge on DarkZero's side. I'm sure that Elevate has a player that goes back a few years as well, so hopefully both teams can navigate the map through the new version. But as I said, I'm pretty sure both teams are quite familiar with it.
Oh, absolutely. Chalet is a map that can be also very frag heavy if they want to play it out that way. Now, it really depends on the meta and the way that teams approach the map. If you look at a map, or if you look like a bomb site on that bottom floor, then teams can get real kill happy real fast, but you tend to see these teams shy away from that. More likely that we're going to see some bar gaming, more likely that we're going to see a kitchen defense, and especially that upstairs bomb site. But that's just us speculating. Let's get through the ban phase first, as map number 2 is now underway between Elevate and DarkZero.
Would you look at that? Elevate says 1 time the Thatcher goes off the board, 2 times the Thatcher goes off the board. Standard stuff, and of course this is expected. Thatcher is very annoying to play against. He makes life too easy. A nuke ban from DarkZero once again. They really have read their book when it comes to Elevate Chapter, but it didn't prove to be enough on the previous map. I wonder if it will this time around. I do like it. I do think it makes sense, but what do they follow up with here? Oh, we gotta have fun.
Yeah, taking some time to lock this one in. It's Wamai
like
again,
previously.
just like before, you're correct. They didn't like the Amaru, but it didn't really matter because there was plenty of opportunity for Elevate to make their presence known on attack. Last ban coming in from Elevate, and who's it going to be? Valkyrie, there it is.
Yeah, makes sense.
Slowly but surely, Valkyrie getting banned out more frequently than every other operator.
Yep. Valkyrie and Thatcher, they're holding hands. Like, not on the server, but like, you know, on the banning table, because they never get to see play at all in recent time. And it's kind of fun with the Valkyrie, because it kind of crept up where little by little her ban rate kind of increased, and then in recent times it's like, yeah, you're not going to get played ever again. Whereas Thatcher, you know, it's been a stable ban for quite some time now, which then makes a Kite very popular, and Kite on Chalet, if you have the cheeky kite spots with a kite claw, it can get extremely frustrating to try and find those and clear them out as an attacker. Canadian played Twitch on Kafe for a couple rounds. He will hover it here in the first round as well. It makes sense. He's 6 picks off it, so my bad, it doesn't make sense. The Florist comes out instead. They want to ensure they have enough soft breach destruction. They have 2 nades on Sledge, 2 nades on Finger, plus the gun 6, and now they have the Florist drones as well to follow it up. Plenty of utility on the side of DarkZero. On the side of Elevate, they got 2 bubbles. Again, that is the Maestro camera, the Evil Eye. And that's basically it. Elevate doesn't play a ton of shields right now, but they got 1 bulletproof to follow up. So 3 bulletproof gadgets, if you will, in total, and a ton of information to go with that as well. Remember, Wamai is off the board, so explosives such as grenades do have a ton of impact. And we saw quite a lot of nade kills on Kafe. Expect that to continue here in Chile.
All right. Well, I want to see what Maestro plays come out from Elevate. Seem to be a crucial operator for them on Kafe. Will it hold up the same way this time? Will we see a different style of Maestro being used? See sheltered minutes, so to speak, where the Maestro sits deep inside of the bomb site, or will they be holding map control off of it? That's the real question. Late setup being done now. Looks like Elevate seemed to be finished.
Yeah.
15-20 seconds into live action.
Yeah, it's quite common to be setting up as the round progresses. Remember, the attackers spawn quite far from the building, so 20-30 seconds into the actual live round is typically when you start getting contact with your opponent, so nothing out of the ordinary here. DCH sitting on this chimney position. There's a master bedroom defense, but they've extended to the library side. They're not going to be able to hold this successfully, I don't think, but it's just a matter of denying some drones, killing some time, because Chalet, quite a small map actually, so if you just let your opponents run it over, well, they're going to be hitting side extremely quickly.
DZ wants inside a library as badly as they can be, but they have to be wary of the fact that there are lots of hatches opened up. We talked about bomb site rotation for a map like Chalet, and right now Master Bedroom is going to be the very first bomb site.
Yep.
A lot of teams like to hang out over by Chimney and make sure that they're holding positions over by Library. That was Elevate's original focus, but it doesn't seem like it's as crucial anymore for them.
No, I think they had like a soft timer of roughly like 50 minutes or 50 seconds to 60
15
seconds.
minutes?
Yeah, that's a long match.
Wow, 15 minutes is
50,
hell of a
60
round.
seconds where they said, you know what, we've got the time we wanted, we can now just fall back to side, play the 5v5, and honestly, it's quite wise, I would say. With the kite being open and the Thatcher being banned, this wall should last for quite some time as well, and all of a sudden, DarkZero, the time is ticking down. Oh, the timing on the drone.
It's a Rotero drone shot on in. Down goes the ADS, will allow clear passage for any of those projectiles, and also a grenade to be tossed on up. And it looks like it's cleared out that Electric Claw. So say goodbye to Nerix's ability to hold up on the wall. No secondary Electric Claw thrown out. That means the exothermic charge is quite successful. 1 minute to go, and DarkZero now has an easier way into the bomb site.
So now we gotta ask ourselves, what is the plan for Elevate? Why can DarkZero not just walk into this breach right now and plant Diffuser? One important thing to note is that there's only a C4 available on Nerix, on the Kaid. Other than that, it's the Evil Eyes. Other than that, it's just guns. So DarkZero, once they join out this bomb site, could very well realize that they can actually just start walking in and planting. There it is.
And Eclipse has the diffuser now almost halfway. NJR the very first kill here on Chalet. And trying to cut him off the wires, DCH turning around, Hyper out-dueling DCH in the process, but then turns his back to Sapper. Will need to be retrieved at some point. DZ falling by the wayside as Elevate's guns are hitting their marks. Down goes Nay. Eclipse, after he gets the diffuser down, takes some killing to be done as well. The last 2 players of Elevate need to watch, and Canadian doesn't get seen for about a second, and that's all it takes. Eclipse and NJR still upright, almost past the point of no return. 13 seconds left. Nerix is taken down, but that's information that Sapper will have. Unable to retrieve, it's 1 man against 2 more bodies, and a nice angle held by Eclipse. How about a 3K, by the way? Eclipse getting 3 big picks after that diffuser gets planted. That is enormous. And DarkZero with a very impressive first round.
Yep, and that's kind of what happens when you don't check all the boxes from Elevate, right? Once that wall is open, they didn't have many ways to deny the plant. All they had was a single C4 from a Kaid inside our master bedroom. The C4 did not connect, so thus the plant went through. I assume either the Evil Eyes had been cleared out by DarkZero or they were simply not put in that area of the map. Either way, you gotta ensure that you have adequate plant deny if you're going to be falling back deep into the bomb site. And that's kind of where the toxic basement smoke is a typical approach. Vertical C4s, etc. Of course, it's not a lot of verticality you can do on the bomb site in particular, but you can try and do something from dining down below. That was an elevated choice, and they got punished for it. Bar is next up, so bomb site rotation galore. It's gonna go straight to the next one. I like it.
Just like that. Just like that, they move to another one of the most popular bomb sites here on this map. I do wonder if we're going to see Elevate go all the way to the basement, Nick.
Yeah, the basement is not extremely popular these days for good reason, but...
What's the reason for that, Nick?
Well, the thing is, it's just extremely easy to like open up the walls. You know, if Thatcher and Maverick are both banned, I would argue basement is quite nice. But Maverick is open. And also, you have so many explosives from the attacking lineup when you play the likes of Iana and Finger, which most teams play most rounds. So, basements is like a passive bomb site where you sit in corners a lot. Grenades, they really like when you do that, right? While Maya is banned, that means you cannot bunker up as effectively. The Maverick is open, the walls aren't safe, they will be opened up if that's the operator that they bring. So, basement, not the greatest bomb site. I would say bar, kitchen are great. Master bedroom is also great, actually.
We rank the bomb sites. Put together a tier list, just like you did of all the teams, by the way.
Oh, I'm gonna get that so wrong. People are gonna hate me for it, but you know what? That's okay.
It's free content. Oh my. The DMR in the hands of Onigiri is really a fascinating thing, and just ask Pambazoo, who's had to deal with it a couple times now. Pambazoo not allowed to spawn into this round, so DZ will fight without their Nomad. That means somebody else will have to be dedicated to flank watch. You don't have easy utility to deal with it, and more importantly, you're going to have another set of eyes. That takes somebody off of whatever position they're on. I don't know who they're going to want to do it. Probably Eclipse after that diffuser gets planted, should it? Maybe Hyper or NJR. Almost certainly not Canadian on this Yana roll. These grenades also quite pitiful at the moment. Sapper's still upright, not taking any real damage from it. He's lost about a quarter of his HP so far, but that's really not that much given how DZ tossed in 2 nades to try and kill him.
Yeah, I mean, Sapper can sit in this corner for a while. It's a waiting game. He doesn't have to move. Kane makes the first move, jumps in, gets shot in the back. It doesn't matter. Follow off from there as well to NJR, and now we're falling by the numbers. Eclipse finds one to trade it back, but it's not enough.
Adrenal Surge hit by Hyper to try and maybe stem the bleeding, so to speak, or keep somebody upright should they be down. Sapper will have to be retrieved. He's been worked back into fighting form, and they'll both drop through that hatch. Eclipse drops as well. 1 minute to go. Diffuser in his hands, and the Thermite will have to vault on in, but you do so at your own peril. I don't think they have proper intel as to where these players from Elevate are situated on the map. We know Sapper's up top inside the library, but they might not know that. They don't know exactly what position he's in. Hyper taking some damage. I wonder what gunfight he's currently engaged in, embroiled in over by Piano. And we'll throw a nade down in case somebody is over there before vaulting on out, also to cover his tracks. Confronting one of those laser gates, there's really not much that he can do. Toxic Canister goes off, and it seems to be a pretty decent time to do that. Still one left, and Eclipse is fighting shadows in the corner of Library as DZ swinging blindly, trying to get to the bomb site with the final 30 seconds on the board. But they are suffering, and it's Napew to swing on the Hyper. Eclipse with the Thermite charge above. Maybe a distraction. I don't know what his plan is here, but he's going to drop, and he's dead meat. That's a GG go next, I suppose you want to say, for that round, Nick. It might have been a long one, but Elevate perseveres, and they tie things up at 1 round apiece.
Yeah, Sapper is kind of the hero of that round from the side of Elevate. He understood that these nades were not hitting their marks, and that means he can sit tight in this corner and not have to worry about anything. There's no reason to walk out and risk an engagement and getting shut down when he can just sit in the corner and try to bait out all this utility. Canadian even jumped in the window trying to make it work. Got shut down from Nerix, there was good refrag going on, Elevate came out on top, they had the man advantage, and of course we saw at the very end Eclipse had to just desperately drop the hatch with not really much to go for him. You're not expected to really do much in that position, but they tried, and that's what you have to do. Nerix 6ing off the Kaid, so they're done playing that game. They're onto the mute now, trying to deny more walls at once, as well as denying some intel from DC. Not a bad choice at all. We're tied up 1-1 in scoreline, and we have been on these 3 rounds on 3 separate bomb sites, as now we have made our way to kitchen.
Do you think we're going to see a defense of the bottom floor at all?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't.
ever again.
I mean, we will at some point. For this particular situation and matchup, I don't think we necessarily will. But I promise you, Parker, at some point in the next year, I'm sure we'll see.
In the next year.
Yeah, that's like a safe bet.
Yeah, okay.
It's a very safe bet.
Okay.
All right, how about this? We will see it at this Invitationals at some point.
You know, I think before the sun ultimately expands and consumes the earth, that we'll probably see another downstairs defense on show.
Yeah, it's a safe bet. It's like a guarantee.
I mean, I will breathe air in the next 5 seconds. That's also a safe bet.
That's because you have weak lungs, then because I can wait 10 seconds. That's double.
It's not about not wanting to breathe.
I'm just saying.
Weak lungs.
I'm just saying. Okay? I'm just saying.
Kitchen defense and Elevate has what looked to be 3 bodies on the top floor, playing off of that verticality. Elevate did very well with that verticality on the previous round. Library was a stalwart defense, and it really showed how strong they can be.
Oh, that's 2 for 1 right there, getting 2 drones with basically 1 spray. And that's also some information denied from DarkZero. They gotta now throw another set of drones and now recheck everything because where is DCH around that? But joke's on you, he's made his way all the way back to Office and they've kind of given up that first part of top 4 Library side. Now let's say Office is all we care about until you start challenging that instead.
JR, the one-man wrecking crew over by Library. This was a part of the map that DZ struggled to gain control of on the previous round. Not quite as pivotal when you look at this bomb site of Kitchen down below, but still an important part of the map to hold and ensure that you flushed everybody else.
Yeah, the way that Chalet typically works is that wherever you are at the bomb site, you want to extend either 1 room up or 1 room over. So again, if you're in Kitchen, you want to extend 1 room up, that's Master Bedroom Office, or 1 room over, that's kind of like bar, and then with bar you also want to do Library just to deny the entry points. And that's exactly what we see Elevate do every single round. They make sure that they use as much of the map as possible. However, they don't take fights in bad positions, they rather fall back to the next part of the plan.
Nice rhythm here as DarkZero clear out that mute jammer on the dining room wall and then open the wall with the thermite charge as well. It's going to allow Elevate to see greater line of sight into the lobby, but they will have to worry about the greater sights from DarkZero staring into Kitchen, as that hole goes both ways. Sapper will be quarterbacking the defense right now as he's by the dining room table. Unsure which member of DarkZero will be the first to engage in this contest. NJR just narrowly misses that very large balloon-shaped head of Jaeger as DCH still works above, waiting ever so patiently. Canadian on what seems to be a flank deep down in the middle of the basement, and Sapper gets destroyed by Eclipse. DZ lined up. They're ready to charge right in. They have the momentum, but they don't have a ton of time. 30 seconds left for them to walk right in. Hyper gun down. Onigiri is the one to do that, playing this angle. Nay is the next one up. Canadian gets dropped, but Eclipse is still holding this angle. Eclipse is fragging out of his mind, but he's got the diffuser in his hand, and he'll need to get it planted, which will put DZ into a 2v3 position. Elevate still waiting, very patiently. Toxic canister goes out. Does it connect with Eclipse? That's the question. It looks like it's doing some damage to him. No! How are they missing him? He's now starting to breathe it in, but he manages to get out with just a shred of HP until DCH with a massive triple kill, and Elevate will hop on that diffuser immediately.
What a great time for DCH to make that flank play right there. I am so confused what happened with Eclipse there. Not only did he get 2 kills, he got the plant down, but he was surrounded by toxic gas all around him, and for a moment, it looked like he was invulnerable, and then a few seconds later, he started taking damage. Got out with just a slither of health, but it wouldn't matter in the end because, as I said, DCH on the flank made the play. So, nice try from DC. They had a really good early round, had a really good mid round, and at the very, very end there, it kind of fell apart. They actually took the right approach to this bomb site. They breached the office wall, ensuring that no vertical play could be used against them. Then they breached the wall into sight so that they could execute, and then they just held their ground. It came down to gunfights. Unfortunately, they lost it. With Canadian in the basement, NJR up above, and 3 guys on that main floor. So, setup-wise, great job from DC. Outcome-wise, great job from Elevate. And now we're seeing Master Bedroom once again, but with a pulse this time. Remember, the very first defensive round from Elevate, we saw an issue with the diffuser being planted and they could not contest it. This pulse is going to give you information and verticality that you otherwise wouldn't have.
Absolutely correct. So, the cycle will replenish itself, begin anew, so to speak. Your prediction that while we might see a downstairs defense at some point here at SI, the fact that we won in this matchup, it's looking pretty good right now, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's That's pretty good.
Oh, and they brought shields too, Parker. They got Nerix and Nagoyo, so they got shields. They had no shields last time, and they got Alibi. 3 shields, vertical C4, bulletproof. They got everything right now, except for a smoke.
5 seconds left.
That's pretty good.
That's not too bad.
Nah, it's not too bad at all. I mean, Alibi right now is a quite highly valuable operator. You get the purple shield, you get 1.5x on your primary, good weapon, and you get a secondary shotgun. That is incredibly high value when you combine all those factors together. And honestly, I would argue a slightly underrated operator. She doesn't see that much play, but when she does, it can be quite frustrating to play against.
I like that Nerix is bringing the TCSG, by the way. This is something that I saw him playing on a Kaid earlier, and now is running that same weapon here on Goyo. These are the only 2 operators who have access to it. It is a bit abnormal. Teams don't tend to favor those weapons. If you're running a Kaid, the AUG is the go-to recently.
Speaking of.
I mean, look at this pulse shotgun.
Yep.
This is something that we know about Elevate, and we have seen before that pulse will go for it, hop out a window, and destroy you with the shotgun.
Yep.
And I am eager to see if DarkZero have prepped for this and are aware of it, because if not, it's going to be a rude awakening for this team.
I mean, just imagine the first gunfight you have against the pulse. You go, guys, he has a shotgun. You're like, what do you say to that? It's like, okay, did he like mess up? Did he not do his loadout equipment correctly? No, this is Elevate. They just bring these absurd weapon loadouts, and it works for them. That's why they're here. But it's quite abnormal for these regular teams to play against.
Oh, they're doing the drone work that they need to do. Nay is still down below. He sees a drone. I don't know if he got spotted on it. He shoots it and runs away. So his position is covered down on that bottom floor. Might have been given away. Opening up the wall inside of office. Half of it laser gated off. And Eclipse will pilot his drone on in to give intel to the rest of his team. Nay slowly getting back to the bomb site, but the rest of the team right now just trying to stave off whatever push might come. That shield that you said that was set up on top of the piano by the Alibi is now gone as the Retero drone goes in. And Canadian will continue to do some destruction as now a bulletproof camera goes as well. Each of those Retero drones claiming 1 piece of Defender utility, huge value.
Note that it's both the Pulse and Nerix and the Nagoyo down below, so you have 2 C4s. Often we'll see the Pulse scan for Nerix, so he will use his C4 first, he can pop it, run back up above, Pulse can stay down below. This is great value from Elevate, and it exactly counters the issue they had before. Onigiri with the DMR takes out Canadian.
Again, Onigiri is able to get these high impact kills, and a second was lined up, but then an opportunity was missed. Adrenal Surge goes out, and JR takes down DCH, but with 1 HP, Pambazu is down, and there is the Pulse kill from Nay. He comes in with a shotgun in hand. Eclipse attempted that diffuser. Look at the HPs on both Sapper and Nay. This is going to be a problem for Elevate, as Nerix is the only player that isn't on a tiny bit of life. It doesn't really matter, though, because he can fight back and absolutely demolishes them. The gun's coming in, and it's Sapper with 1 HP in a dream to get a huge 2-piece. And just like that, Elevate stretches their lead. They're up 3-1.
So the gunfight that happened inside a fireplace between Pambazu and Nay on the Pulse was extremely important, because the second Pambazu lost the gunfight and died, DC had to get off the plant. They were actually about 3 or 4 seconds in, so about halfway, but they knew there was a Pulse below. Not only does he have a C4, he has the scanner, he knows exactly where they'll be planting, so then they flushed the side of DarkZero. They went deep onto side. We saw Elevate go all the way backwards. 1 player inside a bathroom, 1 player inside a solarium. They understand the line they need to be walking on very, very well because of that Pulse info below. So that's all they needed. They needed the Pulse to make this bomb site work, and now they're up 3-1. Next bomb site looks to be bar. But meanwhile, we got a tactical timeout from DarkZero. Very similar fashion as before in Kafe. Once they're down a few rounds, they will be talking it through and saying, alright guys, let's not fall too far behind, let's pick up the last 2 attacks here, make that a 3-3 tie, and then we can do our thing in defense. And honestly, I think it's a very wise choice, especially seeing as you lost the first map off Kafe. You don't want to put your back against the wall too hard in this second map.
This is particularly worrisome for DarkZero. Back in map number 1, which was DarkZero's map choice, need we remind you, Elevate stretched their lead to 3 rounds, up to DarkZero 0, and DZ hit that timeout button after the 3rd round. This time, DZ slapping the button 1 round later, in round number 4. So DZ wins round number 1. After that, Elevate, very strong. Does what they need to do, hold map control well. They're quite aggressive. They fly under the radar. They have 2 deep flanks. DZ doesn't know anything about it, and DZ ultimately stumbles. And the thing that I am noticing the most from DarkZero is that their guns are just not coming alive. If you look on the right side of your screen, Eclipse has 7 kills. The rest of the team combined for 3 kills. So Eclipse having 7 kills. Next is NJR with 2, Hyper with 1. Canadian and Pambazoo have basically not been able to do anything in terms of actual play on the battlefield. It's not good enough for this DZ team. They need more contributions in terms of kills.
I think the kryptonite of Pambazoo is just Onigiri with the DMR. I think I can count like let's say Pamba has 10 deaths across the last 2 maps. I think like 6 of them, more than half, that's Onigiri's DMR. Like that's it. Pambazoo also did die to the pole shotgun last round, which is like the first pole shotgun kill in professional play, and honestly, at least like in tier 1 play, that's the first pole shotgun kill for years. That's quite impressive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember the Amaru ban. I was thinking, okay, well, I don't really remember the last time we saw that, but now I'm thinking, when was the last time I saw a pulse shot?
Yeah, that's a while back. We did it like back in early year 1 of Pro League. Now we're at year 7 or about to enter year 7. We had a lot of pulse shotgun on maps like Bank. It worked quite well. The shotguns back then were actually stronger than they are now in terms of killing power.
Yeah.
But that was 6 years ago. That's a long time. Now, like different story nowadays. So
you were just a baby at the time.
Yeah, still am, just with less hair. Less hair, baby. That makes me more of a baby because I have less hair.
Sounds very weird to say out loud.
That does sound, yes.
But that's okay.
Shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. DCH playing this streaming position once again. Sapper as well inside the corner of Library. This is like their positions, if you will. They've been here a couple of times. They've made it work time and time again. Remember, last time they extended, they had like a soft timer at around 50 to 60 seconds. However, that wasn't on the bar defense. But they might have a similar timer here. Sapper looking to maybe drop when the Nick comes out. No, back in the corner he goes. He knows that DC missed the last time, and of course this time again. Same story.
A hard angle for them to hit, evidently, as those are 2 nades thrown in his direction, but there's one more from NJR. Oh. That one lands as well, but Sapper is just immune. Is this spot some secret anti-nade shield? Another grenade is being primed, this one from Canadian, and well, this one drops it again! Sapper lives! And this one falls through the floor! No! How many nades? You still got 2 more. Hyper has them available, and oh my goodness gracious. What a series of mishaps.
Do they call over Hyper to try again? Or do they just say, you know what, guys, this guy's not... he doesn't want to die. Like, let this guy be in his corner. We don't care anymore. Like, just rotate over, take Master off his side, and just sweep the map. Because this is not working. Sapper is invulnerable to explosive damage.
Incredible stuff. Just really just phenomenal work there. And... unfortunately, I think that in many ways is emblematic of what we've seen of DarkZero now, just throwing things in with reckless abandon. And Nay swings and gets the kill onto Hyper. This round might already be over unless DZ are able to regain some level of mental composure that we haven't seen from them so far on this map, because that is a lot of utility wasted, and they are obviously going to be unhappy about it.
Yeah, and it sucks to say because DarkZero is one of the most proficient teams with strategy and coordination, but they have the lowest value so far that I've seen from any team with their grenade usage at this tournament so far. Onigiri, DMR, stays on top, finds another one. That's getting off the board. 0-5.
Oh no, oh no, oh no! And there's another second one for Onigiri down on the stairs leading to the basement. Next one up in line of sight is Pambazoo, and he manages to outduel Onigiri, but there's still 10 seconds left, and he needs to head through that main lobby. Is the default cam still up? That's the real question. Either way, they know where he's coming from. He's finally been able to find a single kill, but that's all he's going to get. The one onto Onigiri is all she wrote. The timeout for DarkZero does not pay immediate dividends like last time, and Elevate's lead will grow by another round.
Elevate, we can hear them every round they win. They scream, so they feel this, they want this, and they're having so much fun with it. I mean, when was the last time, we kind of spoke about earlier, when was the last time you saw people pick pull shotgun, scream when they win, enjoy, and just have a really great time? It is big smiles across their faces. I think they might even be in a state of disbelief, like what is actually happening right now? What is going on? We might just beat DarkZero 2-0 in our opening game at the Six Invitationals. First team from Thailand, the dark horse of this tournament, representing APAC like every other APAC team does, with success.
I mean, at this point, who doesn't believe in APAC supremacy?
Yeah. I mean, it's not even a question anymore. APAC is a region that is here to stay. It doesn't matter if it's Sandbox, Damwon, Kia, or Elevate at this point. They can all play the game at the highest level. It did take them a few years to get there, but oh my, the last 6 months or so, they have just, I'll say, elevated through the ranks.
This is the old Xavier roster, by the way, for those people that might know. Xavier also part of the Rainbow Six Share program. They have the gun skin on the F90 in-game that is run by Gridlock, if people recall. I know.
Didn't know that was called F90. I learned something today.
See, there you did.
Wow.
I like the F90 a lot as a weapon, and I don't know if they intend to keep recycling weapons onto the new operators, but if they do, I hope that the F90 finds its way onto one of the new attackers.
That is such a good statement, because I'm not a huge fan of playing Gridlock with the 1-speed, but I do love her weapon, and it's a shame it's not on other operators for that reason.
I absolutely agree with that. There's certain guns that are just so satisfying. They feel good, they act good, and that's definitely one of them. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much here. What is this?
Well,
From
this
Nay.
is
Look at that.
Kitchen bomb site. Yeah. Kitchen bomb site. Nay is like watching the window, right? I'm not sure if there's a hole in the window or if he's just sitting there, but either way, library clear sweep over from DC. This time around, Elevate not contesting. They're actually just giving it to them for free. They say, well, we don't really care about library. We care about the half of the map. That is the office, the master bedroom side, that half of the map, and of course, kitchen itself. Last time that worked for them in their favor. This time they say, you know what, let's just keep that up.
Have to deal with the mute jammers now as the drones go on in. Again, you talked about bringing shields onto this side of the map, whether it be upstairs, whether it be on that main floor. And the shields being brought this time are just one, and that's by Nay on that smoke. Instead, this alibi is running with the impacts, and I'm assuming that with the position is to try and deny the exothermic charge that will eventually go onto the wall. And that's exactly what could happen. Is that a player inside the main lobby, by the way, that DCH just
He's just outside.
out on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I saw that, and I thought to myself, okay, well, is that a potential kill? This is your perfect opportunity for a nade, but you gotta wait for that mute jammer to go. It'll take out, finally, with that grenade, and Sapper will take out the exothermic, but he misses. The thermite charges it down a little bit too low, and the wall will get opened up inside of dining.
Yeah, so if you guys are a thermite main watching from home, the reason why Eclipse put that exothermic charge crouch level is exactly for the impact grenade. It makes it a lot more difficult because of the explosive range of the impact grenade, so putting it as far down as possible ensures that the highest chance of it going through, and if that impact check was gone through, there would have been no more harbage left from the side of DC, which means the walls could not have been opened, so well done for him.
Nobody dead just yet. That benefits DarkZero, I would say, with the fact that these opening picks right now are in Elevate's favor, but they get another, adding onto it with Hyper being dropped. So another round, and Elevate has extra influence.
Sapper!
He gets Canadian now, too, from the same spot. DZ will just keep repeating the same mistake over and over again. Eclipse gets one. He's been the leader on his team for this map. It was NJR on the previous, but now it's Eclipse stepping up. Pambazoo onto the scoreboard. Got a kill previously, and control of the bomb site seems to be for DZ, but Onigiri takes out Eclipse. Pambazoo softened up as well, watching through the doorway and finished off by a nitro cell tossed out deftly by Nyrix. NJR above, and he'll take out DCH, but where does he go from here? You have to drop down. The diffuser is miles away, and he knows that it's dire straits. And a kill from Onigiri will sort this out. Add it to the stat column, but it doesn't matter either way. It was over for DZ. What a devastating first half for DarkZero, but absolutely commanding for Elevate as they're up 5-1 here on Chalet.
So, two things. I think Onigiri is breaking the world record for most DMR kills in a single best of 3, or at least in 2 maps, I would say. Secondly, I think it's time that DC let somebody else plant. I know they're going on the defensive side now, but I feel like they should have let Eclipse just keep doing something with the gunning part because he's doing so good at it. Because Eclipse becomes the droner, the breacher, the planter, the entry, and the top gunner all at once. I feel like you gotta kind of spread out the workload there because it's not really fully fair to him. I'm wondering and curious if he's gonna continue up that streak on the defensive side as well. He's currently 9-5 in the lead of the kills on DarkZero's side, whereas oppositely, Elevate looking very, very close to each other. Top Gunner is 7 kills of Onigiri, Bottom Fragger is 4 kills of Nerix, so only 3 kills between top and bottom. That's quite impressive. That basically tells the story that it's each and every single player of Elevate playing together, everyone contributing. On DC, we got 1-6 on Hyper, 0-6 Canadian, 2-6 Pambasu, but keep in mind one of those kills went a 1 versus 4, it didn't really matter, low impact. And then you just have Eclipse at 9-5 and NGR with 3-5. It really tells a story of individuality versus team cohesion when it comes to gunplay.
All right, well, DarkZero now moves on to defense, and they're going to start off with the Bar Gaming bomb site. The only successful attack that has happened so far here on Chalet was on Master upstairs. It was DarkZero who prevailed back in round number 1. Since then, DZ have just been adrift, if we can call it that, with Elevate taking the fight to them, and the unpredictability of Elevate seems to be getting under the skin of DarkZero. DarkZero are not playing confidently, they're not hitting their shots very effectively, and Elevate is taking full advantage of that. And the scoreboard being what it is, well, it tells a pretty damning story. To make it worse, DarkZero has already used their timeout. It netted them exactly 0 rounds since they took it. So things are grim for DZ, and you have to hope, if you're a fan of DarkZero, that this is just simply a very defender-sided Chalet.
It very well could be. I mean, I know typically we say that Chalet is like an attacker-ish favorite map, depending on who's playing, what operator bins are through, but you never truly know what kind of attacker defender-sided map a map is, because the matchup matters so much and how each individual player and team chooses to play the map. So far, Elevate, they haven't done too much with their time. We're almost at that halfway point, and so far, they are attacking bar. They're doing it from the room clear over, so of course that's like master bedroom, solarium, office, piano, and they will have to be met with a couple of shields and setups once they get to this chimney hallway or library hallway. So they gotta really start working their speed, but again, I don't think Elevate would be shy about just like pedal to the metal, go through, get the kills, and get it done, because they have so many rounds to spare that they can risk taking these risks.
They can risk taking the risks?
Yeah, they can risk taking the risks.
All right.
It's a really bad wordplay, I'm sorry.
I know. Elevate is so close to a massive victory. This team has not only not competed at a level like this, an international level, but they certainly don't have a victory to their name. And Nay was the one close to doing that. He'll smoke off library stairs, call for an adrenal surge, and a nade will hit its mark on the Hyper. DZ had some struggles with those nades. Doesn't seem to be the issue. Nay walks in and takes out NJR as Hyper had gotten the 1 kill for his team. And it leaves Elevate with an advantage still 4v3. Pambazu at half HP. There are frost mats in play, so this is something to keep an eye on as we move forward. But all 3 of the remaining players up for DZ are playing trap operators, to a certain extent, if you want to call them that.
The ADS, unfortunately, there denies the Gone 6 from being used. No nades left on the side of DCH. Now, with 15 seconds left, it'll come down to a push and a kill. I don't think they can do much right now, and with the traps on the bomb site, this might be quite dire. Nay will be the first guy to take the gunfight. No, Eclipse takes it instead. Nay's middle bomb site, Diffuser down in fireplace now with 5 seconds taken down. And no, Eclipse saves the round. Diffuser is down on the ground. No time is left on the clock. Panbe and Canadian finds 1 each, and now DC are actually getting kills on the board.
They absolutely do, and that was a misplay as well from Elevate, as we can talk about. The Diffuser being down, instead of getting it, it was Nate to take the engagement when he could have potentially grabbed that Diffuser and waited, or even gone into the bomb site. Well played by DarkZero to make a course correction and to play off of that information. But if they want to get back in the game, this is just 1 round of many that they need to start putting up on the board to close this enormous gap between them and Elevate, because Elevate sits 1 round away from match point, at which particular moment DarkZero would need to then win out the remainder of regulation to then go to overtime and win in overtime. That's the only path forward if DZ slips up even once. So they're going to trot out a Legion and go upstairs to master bedroom. So far this bomb site has been played twice by these teams, and it was won once by DarkZero on attack, won once by Elevate on defense. What exactly will the changes that DZ made to their defensive lineup? How will it look different from what we saw out of Elevate? Well, the Legion is a big difference maker. This is an operator that can cover a wide swath of the map, stop your advancements, and give information to the defenders as to where you're coming from.
It's a similar story, right? Because the way that Chalet is as a map, there isn't a ton of innovation because it just, as I said, like it makes sense to play the whole like, okay, one map over or one room over or one room above or below. And yeah, master bedroom defense, you're gonna go one room over to library. Similar setup as Elevate, you're gonna basically slow down, kill some drones, maybe soak up some utility like Cyber, burning 4 nades every single round. That's exactly how you're gonna approach this, and it's exactly what DC is currently doing. So kudos to them for understanding that that's the right way to approach it. They got Eclipse on the Kaid, so once they clear library, then they gotta start working the office wall. So just basically setting up a ton of problem solving for the opposing team is the plan here. They actually, DC fell back at 30 seconds. Both players dropped and now going to the basement instead. Going together, they got that body system going. I like this. In case they find someone down here, they got the numbers in their favor.
They're going to split off, though, with Canadian heading towards the main lobby, and Hyper's re-entry to the main floor will come through East Main. Or through West Main, rather.
Yeah.
East, west,
south,
I was looking at the tip of the compass, which is east. And then you're like, oh, we're looking east. Oh, wait, it's West Main. Oh, I'm dumb. Dumb. But Onigiri seems to know this. He's opened up a line of sight in that direction. The bullets will continue to sail on by. Did a little bit of damage to what appears to be Canadian, but just a single bullet to his leg as Canadian has a jump out potential. I don't know if he's going to want to go for that or not. Legion does not have access to that 1.5 scope on the T5 the way that Oryx does. So if he decides to make that jump, then he's going to be using the holo that Canadian has strapped to it. Nades go off and utility being cleared away from A. That's gadgetry, but NJR gets droned out. And that's the real DCH, by the way. A very clean shot onto Nade, but that's negligence on behalf of Elevate.
I mean, that was like a very off-pace kind of push, and I don't think NTR expected 2 players. I didn't expect 2 players to push through like that. You got a minute and 20 seconds left. The wall has yet to be opened up. Second Kite Lore has now come through, so DC in a stable position here. It's looking quite good for them.
No, the focus right now for Elevate, if they want to come ahead, is to take out this wall, which is exactly where Sapper is. He's going to open it up as the Electric Claw had been shaken off of the wall. And again, this half Aruni, half laser gate strategy means that they're going to funnel in a certain direction. Eclipse gives a leg up to DarkZero, but it's swiftly kicked out from underneath him as Nerix refrags onto Pambazoo. And smokes will go out to try and stop any form of visibility as Sapper just takes a tiny bit of damage. He'll look to walk in as he does so quite successfully, but the Aruni of Hyper just landing every single shot. It puts DCH in a 1v3. This certainly does look like a defender-sided Chalet, as what is DCH going to do for the next 20 seconds? You're going to take a mental timeout, not sure where your target is going to be. You got 3 bodies from DZ just sitting and waiting ever so patiently, and DCH knows how tireless he may work. It's still likely not going to be enough, as DZ doesn't give an inch, doesn't want to move at all, and does not engage as Canadian tries to keep this team. Did you hear that?
Yeah. I heard like, I'm not sure what I heard actually.
I think I heard a swear word.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think I heard as well.
We're not allowed to say that on television. DZ puts 2 rounds together, though, and they look far more comfortable in this defensive half.
Yeah, I mean, that round, Hyper, kind of the hero of that round. He, like, NTR started off, he shut down the entry from Elevate, got 1 kill, got traded back. That's okay, 4 versus 4, but it shuts down what Elevate wanted to achieve, which was that early aggression off pace. Afterwards, when the breach got opened up, it was Hyper who swung out, killed the guy that was about to plant, killed the guy right behind him, and put DC in a 1 versus 3 instead of a 3 versus 3, and that's exactly what they needed, because just like when Elevate defended Master Bedroom themselves, they didn't have any good ways of stopping the person from planting if he had gotten into that safe position. Great job from Hyper. Now, I was wrong. Oh boy, I was wrong. We're in basement, Parker. It didn't even last this match. And I said it could last a year. I said it could last the entirety of Invite. It only lasted us, what, like 6 rounds, give or take? That's not good.
You're wrong, Nick.
I was wrong, just like my predictions were. It's a rough day to be me, but there's another day tomorrow. We start from scratch, we start over. Basement from DC, and honestly, the way that this game has been playing, neither team has shown the Maverick a single time. The only thing that they do have, and I say only, it's actually quite a lot, they have 4 grenades, 1 gun 6, and 4 Retero drones. That is plenty of utility to clear off the jammers and the kite claws. In this round, actually, it's just the kite claws. There is no meat on the board. We got a Hyper on the Oryx, so we can assume a roam game from DarkZero, trying to play across the map. I do think that's a very wise choice because the basement itself will be broken if that's what the attackers want to achieve.
There's an Oryx on the board too, by the way.
Yeah.
Something to focus on. At what position are we going to see out of this as all of the ADSs, all 3 ADSs are put in front of that wall, and Canadian is just juggling them as best as he can. The Retero drone just misses ever so slightly. It's a flash to try to shake them off of the wall. Another Retero drone looking to come in. NJR waiting for it. We'll greet it. The hail of bullets.
They're really trying to get this wall open for a direct attack. They're now saying, you know what, we tried. Yeah, they're watching it. Let's move around. Canadian can then move over the ADS if he wants to once he figures that out himself. But yeah, Elevate will have to take map control. And thankfully, they have the Jackal. This will make their job a lot easier because when DC is moving around a lot, that means there's more toes to sniff when you're the Jackal player.
Oh God, don't say it like that. That's horrendous.
That's what he does. He sniffs out their toes.
Stop it. I can't believe all 4 Retero drones got used in a single minute by Elevate, by the way.
I mean, they really wanted to get that breach open.
They absolutely did. And you talked about the toe sniffer himself, and he sniffed some toes mighty fine. Hyper in particular. I really hope this is just such a terrible image for everybody. But
I mean, explain the science behind his gadget otherwise. Explain it to me.
Nerix is still in the same spot, by the way, at waiting for Eclipse as Pambazoo tries to unload and cannot do anything with it. It's the Gemini.
That scared me.
You didn't think you'd just walk in like that, do you?
I don't know. I mean, it is Elevate.
Oh my, Pambazoo does not seem to see this, and then it's Nerix from above. Nerix on this Jackal is just a thing of beauty to behold. He looks so confident, and he knows exactly how to flush out and punish these defenders. He did so on Kafe. It certainly looks like match point for Elevate, unless the final 2 players on DZ can make something work, and it doesn't look that'll be the case, as Eclipse with a shotgun is all that stands in between a single flawless round for Elevate. And there it is! They came tantalizingly close. But Elevate on match point, flawlessly done here in round number 9.
They said we won it, and then they said we got it. That is a flawless one, as you said, to end them up on that match point situation. And honestly, what a time to be a player on Elevate. You're finding yourself in a dominant position 2 maps in a row against DarkZero. You did it on their map pick, now you're doing it on your own map pick, and they said, defender side of Chalet, we're gonna stop putting some attacks on the board and show you that our attacks are just as lethal as our defenses. Really great injuries all around. Canadian tried to get cheeky there, swinging up the fireplace stairs, but Ney was ready for it, shut it down right in his tracks, and that leaves the last 2 players from DC extremely exposed and vulnerable on the bomb side with so many guns in their direction, all 5 in fact, and that is an impossible situation to win.
Well, I mean, DZ have looked better on this half of the map, but they have so much work to be done. They must win out the remainder of this matchup. 3 rounds for DarkZero in a row. They need to double the tally that they have thus far. There's going to be a lot of criticism about DarkZero after this matchup for some of the role swaps that they've done, predominantly and mainly Canadian Eclipse switching things around. I know that that was the talk during the NA League Finals about how, well, Canadian's off hard breach now. It looks like in terms of hard support, it's more Eclipse. Eclipse playing more hard support in a lot of ways on defense, but if you can see the lineup right now that DarkZero has trotted out, it's not exactly a lineup where you have a defined anchor. It's a very flexible, very fluid style of play. Elevate seem to be much more hardened in their roles. They have Ney flexing repeatedly onto different operators, and while Ney had a bit of a slow Kafe, he's really found the scoreboard here for Elevate on Chalet, and is at the moment actually topping the scoreboard for his team.
Yep.
Oh, Onigiri taking some damage from Hyper, and
that's ironic.
Oh, he knows exactly what that DMR feels like. He's the one that's usually on the receiving, or not usually the one on the receiving end of it though.
Yep, very true indeed. So, well, it's a nice way, you know. It wasn't Pambasu, that would have made it even more perfect. It was Hyro who got the kill, but yeah. Onigiri gets taken down by his own DMR, basically. And now the Retera drone this time around gets a lot of value. Last round there was 4 getting nothing. This round there was 1 getting both 2 ADSs and the shield on top blue stairs, putting Elevate in a nice, comfortable position. But remember, they are still a man down. Not the greatest time to be them, but they'll be making their way through, clearing out the Rooney gates, opening up the windows, and their next step was to clear out that chimney blue stairs position. And last time around, they did that quite successfully.
Keep an eye on Nirix, by the way, as he was the difference maker in that previous round, and I have no reason to believe that he won't be this time either on that Jackal, but there goes Nay, and this DMR is proving to be so strong. Keep in mind it has a muzzle brake now, so it's a little bit easier to control, which is why we might see teams running the DMR over the Roni.
Yeah, the Roni also got that nerf. Around 16 bullets now. It's the lowest ammunition SMG in the game on the defensive side. Or actually, for both sides, that is.
Well, the SMG 11, technically.
17.
17, that's
yeah,
right.
17 to 11, 16
correct,
Roni nerf.
Nades get tossed out onto the stairs. Wonderfully done to take out Pambazoo, but there's a Nitro Cell from Canadian downtown. And just narrowly, Nirix manages to live. He'll soldier on. There's not really much information here, neither particularly droning, and the gadget of Jackal's not being put to good use either. Elevate had some serious struggles on this bomb site before. If you recall, they lost the plot with the diffuser inside of the main lobby and were not able to recover. Instead, Nay decided to prioritize frags. This time around, you're down in numbers. They double up on you. Going for frags is all you can really do at this point. You need to get a pick or two to put yourself in position to then get that diffuser down, because if Sapper goes to plant that diffuser, there's going to be 4 sets of eyes from DarkZero staring intently at him, and Nirix will be the only one to stop him. So why not, with 20 seconds left, reposition over to the window. Nice pick on the Canadian, who just feeds himself to the Jackal. Sapper swings onto the stairs. This is not a favorable spot, and neither is the window either, as Nirix gets dusted, and DZ stays in this game.
Looking better. The only thing I'll say is that right now it's kind of hero plays keeping DarkZero in these rounds. Eclipse had a phenomenal round the first time around in their first defensive victory. Now, the previous round, it was actually Hybrid on that DMR inside of Library. He found 2 kills of his own. Without the hero plays of DC, just winning gunfights going in their favor, it looks a little bit weak from them, right? So we need to see the team kind of step up together and win off strategy, cohesion, team play, and playing together. I will say the C4 here from Canadian, quite nice. It stopped the push, got a kill, did some damage, and put them in a great position. Onigiri might have taken that kill. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Here it is.
Onigiri took it personal. He said,
no,
you
not
used
just
my weapon against me, I'm gonna bring the Glass and my buddy Nirix on the Ying, and we're gonna take you down on match point.
This is... oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, this is gonna be pain, and it's master bedroom. Oh, okay, so Elevate, they just have to clear Library, and they gotta breach the wall. If they get that wall open, it's going to be chaos coming out from them. Unless, of course, they go for Solarium take, but we'll see which side they choose for. But bottom line is, they just need the first step of their plan, and then it's madness.
I mean, this is a wonderful combination as well to deal tons of damage. Think about it. You can Ying quite effectively in a Library if you need to flush them out early on and grab that control. You can also target Piano. You can instead just go straight for Office. Once you open up that wall as well, Smoke, you got a Glass there to look through and do that level of Overwatch while you're getting the diffuser planted. So there's a lot of flexibility as to where you can use this. You can also have Glass take Solarium if you so choose, though I do suspect he'll stay with the main push.
Yeah.
So in this case, they're going to hear the sound of that Glass DMR right away. He was not 6-pick. They don't know if he was 6-pick off of. The 6-pick for Elevate was the Ying.
Yep. That is a factual statement. Yeah, it'll be a Library sweep over roam clear. I like this. It gives them the most kind of map ground, and, you know, they can work with the breach. There is no wall deny from the side of DC, which means once they get to the wall, it will be opened, and then it all comes down to Eclipse, the main hero from DC on the Warden, the only player that'll be able to see what's going on once the craziness starts.
I wonder how quickly they'll be able to open up this wall.
I mean, right now, that's it.
45 seconds, and Sapper's going to do just that. The Glass will continue to make an ungodly amount of noise, and the wall will be opened up. Again, this Aruni gate right in the middle will act as somewhat of a deterrent, but ultimately not all that much. Gone 6 for Onigiri.
Whee! Boom.
Did he get it?
Yes, I think he did.
He absolutely did. There goes the bulletproof, and waiting for him to just peek around. Nice shooting, and waiting to smoke off.
First of the smokes.
And he'll just be in right now, just like that. It looks like Sapper's going to go for it. A spray through from Eclipse, though. They bring the Warden to perfectly counter this, but Sapper will be able to get the diffuser off. DCH falls. Eclipse still in the same spot, but Onigiri is just better. Diffuser down, and this means that it's keep away for Elevate. But the Glass is not exactly the operator that you want in this particular instance, especially with Ney now down for the count. Hyper's been dropped. Canadian will join him. Onigiri is on the hunt and is in a 1v3. They're on the diffuser, and there he goes. DZ wonderfully rebuffed this, and we need a 12th round to settle the score. Will we have overtime? Will Elevate put them away? This is the time, boys, to take your time out if you're ever going to do it, because you are losing your grip on this matchup.
Certainly, this is the time for Elevate to take the time out, and this is the only place where I feel that maybe their inexperience might punish them. This is not a situation that they find themselves in very often. They're not often at international events. I'm not sure if their coach is super familiar with like when to take a timeout or how that pattern works, and I'm not sure the players themselves is going to bring up that talking point like, oh guys, maybe we should slow it down here, take a breather, talk about stuff. But no, it seems like they're just going to go straight into it most likely, and then you know what, that's arguably okay as well. Gridlock showcased, 6-pick into Buck, Canadian goes from Mossy into... Give us a pulse, honestly, give us a pulse. Let's is it? He can't hear me, Parker. He took Maestro.
He can't hear me, that's correct. He's not,
that would be cheating if he could hear me, actually. That's a good thing.
Imagine he's sitting here listening to the analysis while also trying to play. Oh, that's a good point, Pengu. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, he's like, the pulse, that's great.
I mean, he's a 2-time world champion. You're a 2-time world champion.
I'm actually a back-to-back world champion. He's just a 2-time champion.
What does that matter? He won a world championship before you did.
Yeah, when it was easier.
And then he won one after you, which is harder.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, what are you going to say now?
I wasn't in the finals to beat him. That's what happened.
You were in the finals to beat him, and you beat him.
I mean, when he won, I wasn't there to beat him.
Oh, okay.
I lost in quarters. Like a complete...
Okay. Like a loser.
Yeah, loser.
Like a loser.
Yeah, that was Fnatic and IP taking us out. That was the Wrath of 8-pack. If anything, yeah, that was the beginning of 8-pack.
I loved casting both those matches. What great match.
Yeah, what a great match to cast. Did you cast both of them?
I absolutely did.
That is ridiculous.
Of course.
Oh,
you think I'm going to give up an opportunity to cast you losing?
We didn't know we were going to lose till it happened.
Yeah, well, I was just sticking with it just to see. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This time around, the tertiary bomb site for DarkZero is Kitchen. The last time it was downstairs, and it was a relatively good round from Elevate. It's the only round that Elevate's won. Right now, we are looking at a very defender-sided Chalet. The first half, Defenders won 5 of the 6 rounds. Second half, Defenders are presently up 4-1. So the potential to repeat a 5-1 half is very much there, as unlikely as they tend to happen. Elevate cannot let nerves get to them. They did not take a timeout, by the way. So there's still time for them to be able to settle things down. If they're going to do it, it's going to have to happen in overtime.
Yeah, it'll happen in overtime, and it won't happen at all because that means they got the dub. Here, Elevate actually playing a little bit slower. Sapper looking for feet in this drone hole. Not a bad approach, but you can't really rely on people just walking past that. We got Eclipse being active down below on the roam game. 15 kills to his name. He was also a star player on that previous round on the Warden, making sure to get some value out of the gadget, shut down a kill of his own. And of course, that built towards the victory that they found themselves.
DZ really is living and dying off of the hero plays. NJR with, 19 kills in the previous game.
19-5.
And now Eclipse with 15 kills. This is just one person's single effort. That's all it is. So throw out those flashbangs from the Flores on Repel. 2 Rotero drones will need to be tossed down at some point, but you can't do them on a window. So you're going to need some more stability from Ney. Pambazoo lit up, half HP. The smoke will get away. He has no toxic babes left, by the way. 1 minute to go, and there is no way to deny install a plant. But Eclipse is there, and he guns down Ney. So continuing on, trying to hit that same 19 kills that we saw at NJR. 3 more to go. Elevate have control upstairs by Piano. They need to now move this over, and Pambazoo is not seen, but he is definitely heard. Down goes DCH. This round falling apart at the seams for Elevate.
Also very nice from Pambazoo. Got that kill, instantly fell back, knowing that, you know what, there's no reason to stick around. We got mana benches downstairs, hold the bombs together, and we should get this stop together as well. No toxic babes, no C4. It's going to be a pure gunfight, but honestly, EC are okay with that.
How do they know this is happening? And that's case down 2. Ping to the rest of the team. This round is effectively over. So overtime is where these will have to turn their sights, unless we see one of the most miraculous clutches that we've ever seen in the history of Rainbow Six. But with where that diffuser is, there is no hope of an objective. It's all just killing, as Nyrix, all off on his own, gets 1 for the record, but it looks like that's all he's going to get. 2, maybe? 3? No, NJR says 2's enough. And DZ are fired up. Overtime awaits us.
DC are not afraid of like throwing bodies at people right now. I mean, sure, they had plenty of people alive. They can throw a body at 2, but it seems almost a little bit unlike DarkZero, known as a very organized and structured team, playing a little bit more loose this time around. And you can say in some areas it's favoring them. They're getting some hero plays and they're getting to save some rounds, and it's been doing quite good work for them. Now find themselves an OT, starting on defense, so they'll get that twice from themselves. That's very good for them. But if it wasn't for the hero plays, I feel like this could be a very different story for both Elevate and DarkZero and the outcome of this match. So, can DC keep it up? Can Eclipse keep showing up? Or will Elevate ultimately be able to top DarkZero? No 6 picks really. Nothing major anymore. We've had our bamboozlements, we had the glass with our spice. Now we're just gonna, basic it up. Pambasu FMG in hand once again. Not playing the shotgun. That'll be Canadian on the mute. I like that a lot. You're gonna give your gunner a good gun, give your side player of Canadian a shotgun to make the rotation holes. Everybody gets to win. It's good value.
Pambasu back on that smoke FMG, by the way.
Yeah.
It's pretty nasty. We've seen that when you have an Aruni on the border, you have a mute with a shotgun, you don't need the smoke to run the shotgun as well. You can run with a pretty decent weapon. And it was just, it was interesting to watch the meta develop around Mute, who didn't originally have access to that shotgun. So if you were playing on defense, you often needed the smoke with the shotgun. And the SMG-11 in a lot of ways acted as your primary. Now that Aruni is in, her passive, the ability to destroy walls very quickly, create rotates effortlessly. The fact that Mute is the shotgun, and Mute is now so prevalent at high levels, it allows up smoke players that flexibility, and they can go with the FMG if they want. You see it on Clubhouse quite a lot with smoke players playing up top on CCTV defenses on those rafters plays. So just something to watch. Pambasu made it work in the previous round. It's another opportunity for him to do it again.
Nyrix, the perfect operator for this task. Once he sees the feed sees, if he crosses his door, he'll know Eclipse's whereabouts. And remember, Eclipse has been there a couple rounds in a row now, so they should both know that this might be happening. Drone will join Nyrix as well, making sure that he gets information. And now, with that drone being shot, Eclipse falls back off. Doesn't want to take the fight just yet. Actually rotates around the connector. Maybe he does want it after all. Nyrix could sniff out the feed if he so pleases, but for now, they'll just be waiting each other out. Patience is key. Who chooses to give it up first? Saber there on the soft wall can help him if need be, but Eclipse is sitting still, not making any sound. Refrag ability has come down here from Nyrix. 2 players now taking the gunfight. Eclipse stuck inside of connector, has to fight his way out with 2 people holding his ankle, and a nade finds him on the run away. DCH opening kill for Elevate.
Not really all that much he could do. The nades so far from Elevate have been significantly better than what we saw out of DarkZero. DarkZero having some duds, those things barely doing any damage when they go off. The best player and the person who is often the single biggest priority for Elevate, Eclipse, is no more. Pambasu will join him. That leaves the rest of the team to carry more of this weight, a disproportionate amount of this weight. And NJR in particular will be the one who you set your eyes on. He is a superstar for this team. He's going to need to rack up some big kills because right now, Elevate has you by the throat. And, well, Hyper will answer back. That DMR can do some mighty damage. Nyrix goes down, and it's a 4v3. Elevate still the upper hand. But 1 minute left on the clock means that Elevate needs to hurry.
Now all 3 players from DarkZero on that first floor. 2 inside of bar bombs and a Hyper in the dining hallway. So they're playing together now, and that's what DC will need if they want to muster this win together. Hyper playing a little bit far off, but with that DMR in hand, honestly, I think he's got it.
Well, he's still patrolling this area. Has not fallen off the kitchen just yet, while Elevate has the upstairs control. Looking to drop into bar and gaming. But Hyper will be the one to rebuff them. He's going to have to watch both the bottom of the stairs and the doorway. Which target does he prioritize first? He's fallen off of watching the stairs. Looks to swing out. Could he potentially get one? No, he misses that opportunity. Instead by the doorway, but he looks the wrong way. ADS is at the wrong time. Sapper gets that. NGR swings from the back, can't do it. Canadian shotgun out, but he's overwhelmed. And again, Elevate goes to match point.
it seems that Elevate, they just have these rounds where they're fired up, and then sometimes they're not as much. But when it's OT, that is the exact moment where you want to be fired up, if anything. And Elevate, they have only managed to win 2 attacking rounds. One that we just saw, and then it was the 9th round that was, so quite a while ago. So now they're in the defense. That's where they had a ton of success. When DarkZero was on the attacking side, they only won a single attack, and that was the very, very, very first round of Chalet. So DC's track record not looking too great, but they need to find a win to go the entire distance of 7-7 to have a chance to bring it back to take the win. Smoke 6 pick from the Maestro from Nay. Canadian showing us Sophia. I believe that is the first Sophia from DarkZero all day today so far.
I believe so as well.
Yeah, very nice. And that was, yeah, that's Canadian on the LMG. Again, Canadian being the flex player from DC these days. Eclipse sticking the Thermite. So in a way, this makes perfect sense. You want to keep the rolls the same. I get that. But we used to have a rule back in the good old Penta G2 days where if you're having a great time really feeling yourself in the gameplay you're providing, you should be given the freedom to be like, what gun do you want to play? What location do you want to be on? If you're Eclipse right now with 17 kills and you've been single-handedly keeping you in this game, I feel like you should ask him, yo Eclipse, do you want to play F2, Twitch, FAMAS, go crazy? Give the heartbeats back to Canadian or any other player for that matter. Let Eclipse shine. Make him do the work for you and with you instead of kind of working against you, because he has to drone, breach, plant, and frag it out now on overtime match point. That's a lot of work.
I mean, he's absolutely been working 2 kills away from matching the same tally that we saw from NJR on the previous map. 19 kills to NJR's name, Eclipse at 17. And we're about to see history repeat itself. Look at what's about to happen. Guess who's in the corner? It's Sap.
I really, really hope that if DC goes to this, that they just have to get that one nade right. If that happens, I will go to bed a happy man. If they don't, you know, then Sappy is just a legend.
4 nades, by the way. 4 nades they used.
Yeah, well, last time 4 nades wasn't enough, Parker. They needed 6. This time, they only have 4. That is the absolute most amount of nades they can toss at him. And even that being said, it's only NGR with the grenades on that balcony right now, so they only actually have 2. Flashes on Eclipse, nades on NJR. That's all they got.
Well, they have to hurry because, I mean, that Surya gate is up, and the longer you wait, the less that utility becomes valuable elsewhere. You need to open up that gate right away, wait out that 30 seconds, and then drop those nades in like an anvil on his head. But they're not. They're dilly-dallying. They're wasting their time right now, and I think they're trying to drone him out. As you saw the Thermite of Eclipse sitting right next to him. Sapper in this position is not only holding library, he's also got that kill hole from a blow that looks into the bar or the games portion of the bomb site.
So worth noting right now, Canadian and Pambasu is taking piano control while Eclipse and NGR is on the library balcony. They're just kind of sitting ducks right now. DarkZero not making a lot of moves. They're gonna try and clear out that top blue shield, but other than that, they have no presence on this map yet.
They need to make some moves right now as that shield's gonna soak up a ton of damage from Nay with those toxic canisters. Still 2 to go. Telltale sign of a bulletproof EMP goes off. Likely to be the culprit is none other than Onigiri. And a jump in as Nay goes down, but Pambazu is traded back out. Zapper's still in this spot. Pambazu brought back from the dead because of that adrenal surge. And now from above, DZ have control of the top floor. Onigiri down below, rotating back to the bomb site. DZ's guns doing a remarkably good job, Hyper in particular, as he out-duels none other than Sapper. They finally get that mute out of that spot. Adrenal surge running out, and DZ will have an opportunity to use the other 2 that Hyper have in his back pocket. Only 30 seconds left. Eclipse holds on to that diffuser, as you talked about. He has been so good. You can give him any gun you want, but he's obviously quite confident here on this support role. As Canadian sees one into the back bar and just narrowly does the work that is needed to down him. Onigiri coming back to the site. The DMR is in. Major damage done as all the bodies are dropping inside of games. Onigiri walking right up. Sees the sledge, but he cannot do it. DarkZero shuts the door, and we need all 15 rounds between these teams.
Oh, 7-7. We're going the distance, and this time around it was Hyper on the entry. Fun fact, I actually think that DarkZero fumbled the bag or the ball when it came to the ADS clear. They never actually cleared the shield top blue, I don't believe. It was Hyper jumping in the window, finding the opening kill, found a second, opened up the round for his team, and that was that. So, what looked really, really dire for DC, as the last set of flashbangs and last set of grenades was on that library balcony, Hyper said, I'll take this one on me, guys. I'll find us the openings, and then you guys gotta pull through. And they did. Now, tied up, round by round. This is the finale of Chalet. Master Bedroom is the bomb site that DC is choosing to go to. And honestly, they won it the last time around. So, it's not the end of the world. And again, Defender sided Chalet so far. Statistically, DC a favorite here. But that is not all that matters. There is so much context to be had outside of numbers. And I want to point out this fact one more time. Elevate, 7 kills, 10 kills, 11, 11, and 10. They are so absurdly close in the kill count. Every single player has about the same amount of value between them. If one person dies, that is not much more value or less value than if somebody else dies. Whereas on DC, it's mostly been Hyper and Eclipse. And NGR, third guy, add him on there. They've had hero plays really weighing and swaying the odds in their favor. If Eclipse falls, that's a crazy gun off the board. If Hyper falls, crazy gun off the board. So, you need to be worried about the opportunities that Elevate can create by finding individual kills on this final round. The opening kill is going to define a lot of who gets to actually have the real favor here.
This is an absolute shootout between these teams. Do we go to bank, or is this all she wrote? This is eerily similar, by the way, to our match earlier today, Nick. If you remember, Empire versus Sonics. Spoilers for those of you that are in here, by the way. Sonics came out ahead on Clubhouse and then looked to be able to put away Oregon. Couldn't do it. Empire closed it and then went to a third map. If you're DarkZero, you want the inverse to be true. He loves this DMR, eh?
Yeah, he does. I mean, I think Hydra might have just seen the damage that it was doing to his team and said, you know what, I'm going to try it out myself. Attach the muzzle brake, try it out on LAN. Again, LAN hit rate is really great, so DMRs, they just destroy people in 2 or 3 bullets. Whereas on online, sometimes you sponge a bit. It happens. DC playing rather passive. Most people are on site right now, but at the same time, Elevate, they're taking their time map clearing this time around. Nerek started on the library side, now moving over to the fireplace side instead. DCH is taking library blue stairs control, that's great for him, but half the round has almost been going by at this point.
Nade primed and ready onto the library stairs, looking to get tossed up. Is there anybody up there? That's the real question. Put away, potentially, resheathed by DCH, who goes on a drone to see if there's somebody from DarkZero in that proximity. No, the answer is there's not. It's a bit of a sluggish start for Elevate, who are bogged down. I can't even imagine how the pressure is for them. This is a team that cannot get in their heads. They don't have a ton of international experience. They don't have a ton of LAN experience, and they are going up against one of the top teams in North America. You need to be quite proficient. Logic Bomb is going to come out, by the way. There's still one remaining from Onigiri, but needs to use it at an appropriate time. 1 minute to go, and the phones will be silenced. But look at Nate walking up those stairs, but there's a Jaeger right at the top, and he swings on it, perfectly timed, but there's a follow-up from the Jackal, and, well, you're going to have to be quick. Nerix, you're going to have to be quick. Go up, capitalize off of it, and bad target prioritization, rather maybe very good target prioritization. Down goes Eclipse and Pambazoo to boot. Canadian on 1 HP, Elevate with the advantage, and 40 seconds left. So far, APAC has been perfect today. Elevate looking to join them in that conquest, but they've got some work to be done.
Onigiri rotating back actually from Solar back to that main breach, so now they have 1 person there is on the flank and 3 guys on the front making good work.
Canadians down for the count. It's Hyper and NJR who will have to try to seal the deal, but objective play for Elevate has eluded them. You have to be good enough to get that diffuser down. Toxic canister goes out. Onigiri breathing in an awful lot of it. While NJR gets one, immediately pivots. Hyper drops next to him, so it's all on the shoulders of NJR. He's been the hero, but he won't get away. Onigiri silences him. It might have taken 15 rounds, but Elevate prevail 2-0. Welcome your APAC overlords, because they are here and they are not kidding around.